Hey, welcome to another episode of the Blackout Tips Podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we're here to do a feedback show, guys. Feedback show, that's where we talk about the things that you had to say throughout the week, about the things we had to say throughout the week. We did 5 episodes this week, so we'll probably have a lot of feedback. We also are experimenting with our Google Voice voicemail.
And the bots got a hold of it.
No, the bots didn't get a hold of it. That's
okay.
not the problem.
Oh.
I had it set to go to my phone as a backup, and so I was getting calls all over the night, and I was just like, who the fuck is calling me at 3 a.m? And then I realized, oh, it's my fault, and so I turned that part off. But I believe we have voicemails, and we will find out together as an audience how good this system is and if we need to change it or whatever.
Right.
Of course, you can leave comments on the website, vote in the polls, go to the YouTube and leave comments, and now leave voicemails. The voicemail line is at the end of each episode show notes. You also have 5 days left if you want to take advantage of the halfway through this year coronavirus sale. After that, it's going back in the vault. It's $150 for a year, $15 for a month. And those will be your only 2 options. And of course, if you need me to help you out because you need Cash App, Venmo, whatever, email me the blackouttips@gmail.com. I'll walk you through it. And so it's pretty, and you know, I'll help you out. All right, y'all. What is the weapon of the show?
Folding chair.
What is the unofficial sport?
Bullet ball.
And bullet ball extreme. Okay, we have to get into the people that gave us money.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are very important to us.
Yes, y'all are.
Y'all just go to the website, theblackouttips.com. You look on the right-hand side. There's a, do you want to support the show? How much money? It don't matter. How often? It don't matter. We give you a shout out.
iPhone, turn it sideways.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's own Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tithe to the Black Guy Who Tips.
That's right. New, I don't know, new money, new honeys. I guess I've probably said that one before. Bambi, Dr. Professor Bambi, Jason F, Falcons Diva, Derek LW, Ken M, Zach from the Living Corporate Podcast, Lawrence C, Christoph R, Michael W, Dostra J, and Preston from the Slang of Ages Podcast. They came through and they blessed the coffers with a little bit of money. Mm-hmm. No 5-star reviews. Okay, we got 0 of them since April 30th. That means it's been...
And you know what? iTunes been cutting up, so people may have seen them, but for some reason, y'all, we not getting the international ones.
Yeah, if they're international, we haven't seen them.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to get them. I tried looking, and it looks like we would have to have our podcast hosted on Apple to see the international things, and we can't do that because we're at iHeart right now. Yeah, Karen.
Why would they require that?
I don't know. You should call them and find out after the show. Maybe talk to Tim Apple. I don't have the answers for you.
No problem.
But what we do have is your comments. For episode 3089, you never know with the whites. We got 9 comments on this episode. It's going to be one of those weeks I can see. Appia says, if a man could fight a gorilla and win, it would be your current president. I have seen his health exams. So impressive. The gorilla wouldn't even have a chance. In fact, I think he should fight the gorilla, even if it was a little unfair to the animal. Do it, please. Nell says, dang, girl, I really thought I was going to be at you at the first comment, but you beat me. Beat you the first comment, but you beat me just as I was typing up my long ass comment. Yeah, well, she went short. You went long. Yeah, that's where you fucked up.
Got to be quicker.
Nice try, Nebs. Lost by 1 minute.
Damn, by 1 minute.
Neb says, I recently had a very long flight with a layover, then a 1-hour train ride home from the airport, and decided to download an episode of the Blackout Tips for the trip, and it was one about the hookah lounge and the car dealership, and y'all had me literally laughing out loud on planes and trains. God bless you. So glad that you happened to be the one I downloaded for the journey. Yeah, that was a very fun episode, and you know, I enjoyed it a lot too. Mm-hmm. It wasn't as formatted as some of the other stuff, but you know, I think It was just a very fun story.
I went back and I re-listened to it, and it was hilarious.
I'm in a horror meetup group in my area, and we all went to see Sinners in IMAX as our monthly weekend movie, and it was a banger. We all decided it's already the best horror movie of 2025, even though it's only May. Honestly, IMAX was worth it just for the enhanced sound system because the music was too damn good.
Yeah.
My dad is a big blues and horror fan and has seen Buddy Guy live multiple times, so I'm trying to get him to watch it. He'll love it. Speaking of which, Buddy Guy is on tour later this year and coming to a very beautiful theater in Seattle, and I'm thinking about going. It's expensive, but maybe I'll just get the nosebleeds. Lots of older people seem to love seeing him live still, so kind of want to see what the buzz is about. Live music is always fun, and Sinners gave me a better appreciation for the blues.
Yeah, and I appreciate Sinners because Ryan Coogler did kind of the same thing that, and people knock them for this, but like Beyonce and like some of these other people do when they put a lot of people on and introduce you to people that you may not have heard of. Me, as somebody who don't really know a lot about the blues and things like that, or either people that were fans were like, oh, so I can guarantee you when he starts touring, the ticket sales are going to go up, and some places may have been sold out just because of the connections to Sinners.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're going to see a lot of people that, had their curiosity piqued because of this. And I think also the reputation and stuff like that becomes like, oh, it's whitewash when people think of the blues now, or they think of it as white music, or they think of it as old corny music and not like the building blocks of rhythm and blues and all the stuff that we appreciate today. But that's one of the things I liked about Sinners is that sometimes like Sinners, Thunderbolts, like certain movies, there's certain times where corniness is actually very powerful. The cliche thing, when it's just done earnestly and done well, you really can't defeat it. So it doesn't matter that this music is, something that is old. If it is done well, your audience will have no choice but to be like, oh my God, I'm in awe of the talent I'm seeing on screen.
Right, and like I was saying, it would be for a lot of people, like I said, I didn't even know he was touring until you said something. So it's one of those things where for a lot of people, they're gonna start checking them out and going and things like that. And I know it's going to be an experience for people who probably have never seen blues live before. Somebody like me. Yeah,
I'm sure it will be. Let's see. Apia says, I'm sad you can't see the international. Oh yeah. Your podcast, I'm starting a conspiracy theory right now. The radical right wants you to think we give the world all this fantastic content, quality entertainment, and education, and what do we get in return? Nothing. Only Americans give us nice reviews. The other countries seem to be just ungrateful and should say thank you more. The non-American world is ungrateful. We don't like it anymore. Maybe our administration is right after all. Luckily, you are smart and have smart listeners who figured it out, but other podcasts don't. Sean says, I was finally able to re-up my review in Japan. iTunes didn't have the option to review for almost a month. Yeah, and like I said, I can't see it. So I'm not saying you got, like, I believe you guys. Yeah. I just literally, there's nothing I can do to see these international reviews. It sounds like they did some
form of an overhaul, and it's like, hey, we're going to kind of force people to do certain things in order to see this, which is, like I said, it's stupid, but, they can do what they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they did it to make people sign up for Apple Podcast as a host. That's one way of forcing people into like that ecosystem instead of you hosting it on some third-party platform. Right. Maybe it's just something I haven't figured out yet. I know they have some third-party platforms that I used to use that could connect our stuff a little bit, but they stopped. Chartable stopped. Basically, I think it either got bought or just stopped working. So anyway. Well, hopefully we'll figure it out one day and we'll go back and read all the international reviews that we missed.
Yeah, I would love to.
Sean says, I'm abstaining from voting in the poll. The poll was, did you watch Sinners? I'm so disappointed that I can't watch it. Dang. What? Ronan Raphael says, dang, what they waiting for to release it in Japan? Yeah, maybe it's the tariffs. I don't know.
Might be.
Maybe.
Everybody falling out about everything.
Yeah, maybe it's...
They was like, y'all gonna up the prices on Demon Wars, so we gonna stop Sinners.
Oh my God!
Right?
Man.
Ain't it ridiculous?
So I don't know, guys. I hope it works out.
That's a Demon Wars. I mean Demon Slayer.
Yeah. I hope it works out, or whatever. But, Yeah, that sucks. That's what I'm saying. Rona Raphael says, finally I could legally vote twice if I wanted. Hide this comment from them GOP ops. I seen Sinners in regular then IMAX. My goodness, it was like I lost my virginity again. I'll never look at directors that shoot movies in 70 millimeter sideways again. I repented of my ignoramus. Immediately I set foot on the IMAX joint. Gonna be seeing a few more movies in that format now. I'm no longer a virgin. Thank you, Ryan Coogler, for the deliverance through the fire. Indeed.
Yeah, and the thing about IMAX, he shot it in true IMAX, not no upraised IMAX, which makes a very, very big difference when you're shooting it on these screens. Like when you're seeing it as an audience on these screens.
Yeah, I can see that. I think there's certain creators that really do put it into the IMAX format, and I think the people that don't really do that but still greedily try to get the extra money on the movie ticket, so they put it in IMAX even though nothing's really changed.
Right.
That sucks, and it has hurt the IMAX brand. That's why I fuck with James Cameron. That's why
Me
I fuck
too, because
with
I know it's gonna be real.
Christopher Nolan. It's why and now Ryan Coogler, where it's like, oh no, it means something when they put their name on the IMAX. It actually means something.
Right. A lot of other people be bullshitting, and then people get duped a few times, and they don't want to see the same thing with 3D. How when 3D first came out, when people actually shot it in a pure 3D, you kind of felt that tingle in the back of your brain. Then I think it was Green Hornet or something we saw.
Yeah.
When
they had the after 3D.
Yes, and I think we had a fire or something, and we came back in the movie theater. I was like, hey, I can see this just fine. I was like, oh, y'all just gouge people out of their money.
Right. So EVE says, something I failed to mention in my feedback that I don't see a lot of people talking about is Gorilla versus 100 Men discourses. What are they going to do when the gorilla starts throwing doo-doo? Yeah, I think that's monkeys. I don't think that's gorillas. But either way, I think doo-doo will be the least of your problems when
at
it's
that
ripping
period
your
of time.
fucking arm off.
You gonna wish he was doo-doo.
Let's see. Let's check the episode on YouTube. 3 comments. Let's see what we got here. Heart emojis from Inez. Alicia says, Dear Diary, I'm just here for the algorithm. Also, I didn't realize Michelle Obama fine ass was 61 years old. Such a classy and beautiful woman. And Rod, let Karen go on her tangents. We know who the star of the show is. Okay. All right. Just remember y'all asked for that. Because when one of y'all writes in, like, really? Wow, that had nothing to do with
Rod?
anything. That was so long.
Really, Rod? She was all off topic.
Yeah. I'm a host too, and I'm trying to keep us on the tracks. We actually have shit to do sometimes. We have to do shit and be done by a certain time.
And I'll be delaying.
Inez says, good morning, thanks for the shout out. Just say when the whole time you were talking about buying cars at the rental place, a CarMax commercial was playing in my head. I don't think I'm the only one. Great job, Karen. Thanks again for Karen Hunter for introducing you both to my family, to the family of the Rebels. Remember me, I'm the one who is always overpacking. Yes, there was a generation of women back in the day that ironed their men's clothes when they knew they were stepping out. If you know, you know. Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy to be ironing them clothes. Like, I can't be letting you cheat on me looking all wrinkled.
Right? I can't be letting my reputation be ruined.
These hoes got to know you was fresh when you scooped me.
Right?
And them.
Acting like I got low standards.
I just let the commercial keep running all night. It might help you with your next car. You both are the best of the best. I see you Friday at 3 p.m. on Sirius XM 126. Foolishness Friday on the house. Peace. Power to the people. Thank you.
Yay.
Appreciate you.
Rebel, Karen Rebel.
And the poll was, did you watch Sinners? Yes, in IMAX, 35%. Yes, but not in IMAX, 40%. No, 25%. That's still such a high. 75% of the audience that answered this poll has watched Sinners.
Yeah, because so many people talked about it, and truth be told, the way the trailers hit, it wasn't promoted like a lot of other movies were. Like, you seen it, and like you say, black people and shit was talking about it because it's Ryan Coogler, but it didn't get like that big push that like a lot of the other movies get, where that shit is fucking everywhere on NBA commercials, you know, like literally everywhere. It's like that now. But it wasn't like initially like that when everybody was first talking about it. At least I don't remember it being like that when everybody initially had talked about it.
Yeah, it's just really wild that a movie was able to do this, you know. Like, shout out to them.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of the critiques and not creators, critics and shit are shocked and surprised, particularly a lot of white ones, because this shit wasn't even on their radar.
Yeah. Let me play a beat here so we can get some money, because like I said, we didn't get any reviews, so let's get some beats up in here and get paid. That was a nice beat. That was called Old Flame. All right. The next episode is 3090, the podcast Mike Conspiracy. We got 3 comments on this one. This is when we had Shauna Christmas on to talk about her comedy stand-up album, which, you know, she was an awesome guest, and we hope to have her back at some point.
Yes.
Rona Raphael says, I enjoyed Shauna Christmas, and I'm looking forward to not only her special, but also her unexpected podcast. Appia says, I like the idea of describing someone as highly intelligent. Now I'm wondering how tall that person is. Let's say a woman has to be, it's not quite 6 feet tall, but almost there enough. Asking for myself. Well, from my understanding of what she meant from us talking about it in our discussion, I believe she was saying that highly intelligent, and we'll have to watch the special when it comes out, I believe on the 20th. I believe she was saying that is a term that she's using for women who have been sexually assaulted, possibly, and that's what she meant when she was saying highly intelligent. Now, that was from context clues I was picking up in our discussion, so we'll have to watch the special to be sure. But it seemed like she was saying that when another woman in the crowd was crying, or feeling like emotional about her talking about her sexual assault, she's like, you know, I see we have other highly intelligent women in here. Eve says, I enjoyed this guest. I hope Shauna will be back. She was funny and liked her vibe. I giggled thinking about being a comedian in a strip club. I can't imagine going to a strip club to see titties, but instead getting a comedy show. But I bet that would make a great material for a show. Yeah, now she was great, man. Really, really fun guest
and enjoyable, and went with the flow. Yeah,
really fit into the show. And you know, a little behind the scenes. This is not like it had no bearing on anything that happened, but it's just a funny story. I had, so you know, we get guests sometimes, and like people reach out like, would you like to have this guest on? Well, there's only so much we know about them, and of course I have a couple friends in the industry or whatever, and I'll be like, hey, what do you think about this person? And sometimes, you know, it's like I say 99% of the time it's like they're cool, they're a good person. But every once in a while it's like, whoa, watch out, that person's kind of wild, and then I've declined the request, right? But I accepted the request because I looked up her social media and I looked up her like YouTube clips, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so funny, and she seems like she'd be a great fit to talk on the show. And I listened to a couple of episodes of a podcast she had been on, because I tried to do my research. But I hit up my friend after I had booked it, so I'd already said she was going to be on the show. And I'm like, yo, what do you know about Shauna Christmas? Or like she's going to be on the show or whatever. And this person had, in my mind, had replied, she's an asshole. And then and at the time I was high. Okay, I was on some edibles. Okay. So I in my mind was like, it had that in my mind, like, she's an asshole. What? Like, okay, well, we already booked it, so who gives a fuck? And it's not like I'm gonna show up to the interview with my arms folded. Like, if just because someone else says someone's an asshole doesn't really mean they are an asshole. Could be a bad interaction, could be a misunderstanding, could be a bunch of shit. You know, she's a person that talked about this other comedian and that sexually assaulted her, and I'm sure that that's what people do. They label people like that as bad people, like, oh, this person's messing up the vibe around the scene. It's like, or you're kicking it with a person that is sexually assaulting folks and you just don't want to stop, so you're making it her fault, right? All this went through my head. We do the show. It was fucking great. She's amazing. She very charismatic, very funny, everything fit right in. So I text my friend back and I was like, I don't know why people would call her an asshole. She seems really fucking cool. And she's like, yeah, I don't know why people would, why do you think people are saying that? And I'm like, maybe it's because of the, people, like what I just explained. And she's like, yeah. I was like, but didn't you say she was an asshole? She's like, I don't know her. I scroll back up, y'all. The she's an asshole is a reply to a different fucking comment in the fucking text thread that's not about Shauna at all. It's about, I think, the stylist for Shannon Sharp, who talks about how she could have outed him or something like that. She was, and the person was saying like she's an asshole for either out the dude or or don't try to like make it seem like you're a hero for helping him be a asshole behind the scenes. Total misunderstanding. I'm glad it didn't affect anything. Like, seriously, I go into the interviews, I don't prejudge anybody. I don't take that with me.
I go into the drift with a blank mind.
But man, I was like, why? This I gotta stay off the edibles a little bit. I was like, in my brain, I had been thinking for 5 days, like, this interview is gonna go terrible. I hope she really isn't a bad person because anyway. She was so great, even with that in the back of my mind. She still, I walked out of the interview like, man, fuck that. Anybody say Shauna an asshole, we gotta fight,
right?
So anyway, that's a little behind the scenes for y'all.
That's hilarious.
Let's see, YouTube, the podcast Mike Conspiracy. We got 4 comments. Inez says, hello everyone. Koki Negwa says, my stepbrother went to BC too. I think that's where she went to college. Love Shauna, can't wait to watch the special, says Christoph. My mom says, great show, the microphone skit was hilarious. Oh yeah, at the end, yeah, that was very funny, that segment where we talked about podcast Mike's in the Hood, and Karen said they picked up the milk crates and put the mics
That's how
down.
I feel, because them shits just came out of nowhere.
Someone made a Photoshop of that.
That was hilarious.
On social media, I think it was Great Uncle Bob or whatever that did a Photoshop of the milk crates coming down and the mics, but the CIA putting the mics out. It was very funny. And I love when our audience, gets in on the fun like that, because it just makes it better for us.
Yay!
I'll show y'all a picture.
And I is funny.
Yeah. You always keep saying it like there's a bunch of people saying you're not funny, or something.
Yes, that is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, this is the milk crate challenge, but now it's got the microphones as milk crates. That was funny.
Tumbling down. Hilarious.
All right, let's get into the rest of the comments. Let's see. Yeah, because I think that was all of them. So we got to go to the poll. Do you do creative pursuits as a side hustle? Yes, no, or my creative pursuit is my main hustle. 3% of the audience, their creative pursuit is their main hustle. Because it really is rare to be able to do like something creative for a living and make enough money to do it, Yeah,
and also for some people, the thing that because the way society is now, anytime you are good or halfway good or decent at anything, everybody has this thing where I got to make money off of. Well, some people go, no, I want to do this. I don't want to make no money off of it. I want to do it for my own pleasure. Like just tap into that creative side. I don't want no pressure. I don't want no stress. I don't want to deal with any of that. So for some people, they do a lot of creative shit, just almost like just for them, their friends, and their families.
Yeah,
and so they don't want it to be their main hustle. But I realize a lot of the younger generation, because it's so hard out there for them, everything you do got to be a hustle. And for some people, the creative part, it burns them out, because they was like, I want to do this just for fun. I don't want to do this to profit or make money or whatever the case may be, because You know, because I've kind of read articles about this and how some people got into that hustle thing, and they said it killed their creativity for what they were doing because it's not really what they want. They didn't want to do it for a profit margin.
Yeah, I think also just as black people, and I bet this applies to a lot of immigrants and different backgrounds, but there's just this whole idea of like only do this on the side. Like don't
That's
do
true.
this as a main thing because it won't work, or if it doesn't work, you won't have money, or even if it is working while you're trying to build it up, you won't have money. So get you a main gig, and then you can like kind of go back and
back
do
and
it.
forth, but I just until that side hustle make more money than your main hustle, basically.
Right. So I think that's a big problem.
That's
for a lot
true
of people.
too. Yeah, because a lot of people probably are really really great, and and I didn't even think about that, but because of that, for some people, and they've probably had people have probably told them like, oh, you'll be really really good at this, but the mental gymnastics you have to do, the self-deprecation that a lot of us have about us and our work and our creativity and things like that, and like you said, capital has a lot to do with it, because a lot of times even if you're good or great at something, it's very hard to get loans. And a lot of us don't have family and friends that you be like, here's a few $1,000s to start this adventure, whatever it is you're trying to do. So that's why a lot of people kind of go that route, because they go, I don't have a choice, because I don't, but like this, me failing is me failing. I don't have a quote unquote safety net to bounce back and come back or try again.
Yeah, I think that's it too. And also just fear.
Yes,
And
fear is a big one too.
yeah, fear and people putting that stigma on you of the struggling artist. Like no one wants to struggle, but if you were struggling and you had a 40-hour week job, people just treat that differently. Like there's no, like it's like, oh yeah, you got a struggle job, but at least you're working 40 hours a week. But if you're like, I'm a musician and I'm struggling, people are like, go get a fucking job. It's definitely a stigma.
Yeah, because people, honestly, the average person don't respect creativity, and like people will not admit that they don't respect creativity, because anything that's like pure creative, a lot of times they don't really want to pay, because it's not something you could put a price tag or dollar amount on creativity. Versus if you come here work 8 hours, I can list your things you do and I can calculate how much I'm supposed to pay you.
Someone figured that number out. Like there's people don't appreciate other people's work just in general.
Agreed.
How many times anyway, it's just people don't. Yeah, but I just think there's a stigma around being a struggling artist as opposed to struggling other shit. It's just like, oh no, that's admirable. Struggling nurse, admirable. Struggling rapper, motherfucker, you need to go get a real job.
Right.
At any rate, 18% yes, they do them as a side hustle. 78% do not have creative pursuits as a side hustle, and 3% have actually made their side hustle their main hustle with creative pursuits. All right, let's get to the next episode, which was the 3091, the Kendrick SZA Grand National Tour Concert Review. We had 4 comments. Appia says, listening to your joy, I almost understand why people go to concerts. I'm overall an extrovert, but I don't enjoy people in big groups. All right, well, everyone's different. Pamela M.A. says, the only word that I have to describe euphoria is breathtaking. Like literally take my breath away. Every so often last year and this year, I will pull it up on YouTube, close my eyes and listen to it, bopping my head and just gasping at the heat and the vitriol the further he gets into it. Like Bomani said on this show last year, y'all don't understand, he hates that man. Woo child.
Yes, he does not like that man.
Very much appreciate the deep dives that y'all took last year for those of us who not in the know. Glad that the concert was great as I imagined, Pamela. Marcround says, hello, Mr. and Mrs. Karen Morrow. I'm glad you all enjoyed the show. I went a few days before you all when he came to Atlanta. That show was everything, and I don't think I'm being hyperbolic when I say that it was the best rap concert that I've ever been to. The video packages of his deposition needling at Drake were hilarious, especially that last one when it just kept saying drop, 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 and then it led to Not Like Us. If I had any critique, it would be that he brought out our hometown guy, Playboy Cardi. That part of the show was not for me initially, but after experiencing Cardi on that stage, I totally get why people love him. Anywho, love you guys. Peace.
That's the same way I felt about the Tyler the Creator show with is it Lil Yachty? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like I said, I don't really know much about Lil Yachty or anything like that, but seeing Lil Yachty live, I was like, oh, I get it. I like you say, I understand. Even though it ain't for me, I do understand why you are where you are.
Well, I think the difference is that Lil Yachty opened for Tyler the Creator, as this seems that he probably had Playboy Cardi come out and rap during the song.
Okay.
That Kendrick does near the end, that is his verse off of that new Playboy Cardi song. So I think maybe that, but yeah, generally I agree that sometimes you just need to see a person in their element to be like, oh, okay,
I get it, right.
but I don't like I said, maybe I have to see Playboy Cardi live. I've tried so many times to listen to his music. I can't do it.
It's just not for you, which is fine. Everybody ain't for everybody.
EVE says, thanks for sharing your experience of the concert. I love hearing how much you enjoyed the concert. Hearing you talk about the Kendrick concert, Rob, reminded me of how excited Karen was when you went to see Beyonce last year. I was always a casual fan of Kendrick, but your recap made me realize I know more Kendrick songs than I thought, and I love SZA too, and it would be a fun concert to attend, but tickets are sold out in my city, and the Scalpers won't get one red cent from me, so it was nice living vicariously through you too. I do wonder if you try to look for tickets closer to the date, if you will find like some sales, because my understanding, I don't know much about the secondhand ticket market, but from what I've heard is if you wait to like the day of sometimes, because scalpers are basically like, I'm going to get $0 or I'm going to get something.
Market value, right.
Something. And so sometimes you can get a below market value ticket that last day or so, but you may need to like really hustle up. Like it may be a couple hours for the concert before you buy this ticket.
Okay. I guess that would make sense, yeah, because you bought them and you go, I want to make something off of this.
Yeah, so I've heard that. I know when we went to Hornets games, I definitely heard people that walked in there and they would be talking very loudly about how little they paid for their tickets because they had waited till either the game started or right before the game started, and the Hornets were bad. So it's like, man, we got these tickets for $4 or whatever. And I'm like, damn.
I was like, but I want to watch the whole game.
Let's see, YouTube, 14 comments. Ooh, okay.
They had a lot to say, apparently. Guess what? Apparently us changing the name, put the name up front, the numbers mattered, huh?
I guess so. Maybe people don't know what the hell they was talking about. No one's written in with an apology yet. Let's see. Thank you for doing a review of the concert. I'd love to see this tour live. I'm a Day 2 fan too. You so right about people not respecting the art. Sinners was also amazing. CHM818 says, I love the In Living Color shirt, Rod. Thank you. Ramsey PH Dunn says, the review is filled with all the Black Joy 5 stars. Jane says, hey y'all, I went to Charlotte show too. I knew y'all was somewhere vibing in there. I had floor seats and the rain just made me feel like it was a music festival. I did miss whacked out murals while I was getting to my seat, but I went crazy for Euphoria too. LOL, that show was absolutely amazing. The stage design was flames.
I love the stage design.
Cheyenne
beautiful.
says, I'm so excited to see Kendrick and Tyler in June. I was hoping he did the Hard Part 5, but God knowing I can rap King Kunta with him. Life affirming. Thanks for the recap. I'm glad y'all had a fun double date. Thank you.
You're gonna have a good time. Both of them concerts are top notch and worth every dollar.
Yeah, and I guess he could have done the Hard Part 5 maybe right before Gloria or something, but I'm just telling you, by that time it was perfect. I didn't even miss the Hard Part 5, and I like the Hard Part 5. It was, what a great concert. Cheyenne says, I'm so excited to see Kendrick and Tyler. Oh wait, I said this. Future Proof Prep says, come on with was it the braids? What is it, the braids? We in this together, brother Rod. Those vocal stems are priceless. Thank you. Leah says, I drowned before and after the show. I guess that's what we said. I must have said that at the 1 hour mark.
Yes, we did.
I would do it all over again. Such a great show. Or maybe she went too. I don't know.
Yeah, but I say if you did, yeah, you was swimming pool before and a swimming pool afterwards.
Yeah. I'm glad he did swimming pools.
You're right, he did.
Cam says May 3rd, the 1 year anniversary of Meet the Grams and the Charlotte show. Yep. Tip says, I went in ATL. We was on fire. Charles says, Mr. Morale still getting played by me all the time. Definitely a classic to me, but I'm 47. Yeah, it's a classic to me too, man. And it's that thing where like, because people always say like, and especially because of how much I listen to music and how much I think about music, not talk about, but think about music. Over the last few years, I've gotten multiple people like, you need to start a hip hop podcast, or you need to y'all need to have a spinoff that's about music or something like that. And it's not just that I'm adverse to picking up more work or whatever, but I really like, I don't think they're wrong is what I'm saying, because like I do find that my opinion is kind of unique. I don't, and I'm not trying to be contrarian or asshole. Like, you look at these podcasts and you know the ones where they're going viral because if well, Kendrick kind of whack, you know, or whatever. Like, whatever the vibe is that people are having, they say the opposite so that they'll get the clicks, you know.
Of course.
I never liked Beyonce in the first place. She ain't that good. And then, you know, like, and then it becomes a big thing. And, you know, so-and-so don't like Beyonce. The clip goes viral. Everybody gets mad. Da-da-da-da-da. And even if years later they admit that they were wrong, or they can't lie anymore because like the wave is so strong that they have to be like, nah, I do like this new. I just find I do think I think about music differently than a lot of people, and it's definitely something I'm considering. I don't know how I would do it exactly. I would have to think about, you know, how to do it in a way that would make it like fun for me.
Yeah, it would have to be fun.
And whether I would have like guests or if I would just be sitting here talking or what, because I'm not a go to a bunch of concert guys or whatever, but like stuff like Mr. Morale, I was on it from day one is my point. Like, I didn't have to come around to it. I heard the slander about it. I wasn't responding to it. I wasn't gonna go back and forth with people over it. But I remember having episodes of this podcast where I'm like, people are just missing the fucking moment.
Right. They just didn't want to hear what he had to say at the time, too.
Like, sometimes genius is in your face, and it's fine if you don't get it. You know, everybody wants to be simple and stuff, but like how passionate I feel about like the miseducation.
Yep.
And the context and the framing of the miseducation, and how much that was lost, and how much, you know, and I get it. Some people really want to be simple. Like that whole thing, I just listen to it and I was skipping songs, I don't like it. And that's fine, but I think there should be a podcast for people that's not that simple, that have a little bit of different taste, that do want to hear something a little,
and want stuff a little bit more in depth.
Yeah. And of course, my main issue is that, you know, I, like everyone else, don't like everything. And so I feel like there would be some artists and stuff that people would probably, you know, I had to go back and forth for people would feel bad about me not liking and stuff. And so part of that, to be honest, is part of my like reticence to do a show about music, is that I don't want to shit on someone else's favorite art. If I can't get into Playboy Cardi, I don't want to turn it into I'm shitting on Playboy Cardi. He's a running joke to me every week.
Agreed.
When they're very popular, very, you know, people love their music.
Right.
And it's just not for me or whatever. So I that's one, and I don't want to engage in those conversations the same way I don't like when I'm listening to someone and they're just shitting on Kendrick. It's like, skip this episode. Who gives a fuck?
Agreed.
So anyway, I'll think about it is my point. I felt his maturity as an artist on that one and gave him the permission to unleash the dragon on Drake. Mr. Around the Big Step is my favorite album, says Tip 706. Come on now. Listen, I'm not joking. I get if you want to say it's not his best album, if that's really how you feel. That I'm not arguing with you. I understand it's not like GNX. It's just where it's just full of bops. It's simple, full of bops, straightforward. It's what people claim they wanted. But that album is just so fucking ahead of everyone else. It's just so ahead of everyone else. It's really insane. And people they just could not process it or pick it up in that way. And they still don't hold it to the reverence I believe that album deserves. I won't name any names or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But like, how something like Rich Nigga Broke Phone don't hit you like into like, damn, that's where we all eventually gonna end up, is let me turn the social media apps and all this off and go live my fucking life, because the phone is making me miserable. He was ahead of the curve with that, and people was like, look at him trying to usurp responsibility for the hip-hop game. I'm not your savior. Like, just
yeah, and also that album was a lot of self-reflection, which is what a lot of niggas don't want to do. Didn't this album come out during the pandemic too?
Yeah.
Yes. And I think with the pandemic and people going through their own things, with him going, hey y'all, here's an album about therapy and learning and growing, and I'm not perfect and I fucked up and these are the things, going on in my life. I think for a lot of people it was an automatic rejection because they was like, I'm depressed too, nigga. I'm going through shit nigga.
Well, what bothered me is that he was saying I am not your savior, and then they were critiquing him as like, this coward doesn't want to be our savior.
Right.
But before when he did have that savior complex, y'all were like, who does this nigga think he is? Like, it's just very interesting, and especially because he went through the stuff that people claim they want to see people go through. He did the therapy. He did the, you know what I'm saying? He did the self-exploration. He criticized himself before you could.
Right.
He realized he wasn't a perfect person. He talked about topics that other artists won't fucking touch.
Agreed.
When he's talking about his trans and gay family members, and people are like, well, he dead named them. You missed the fucking point.
Yes, you did.
You missed the fucking point. People don't have perfect language like they sit on Twitter all day and they go learn all the fucking right things to say. He's giving you the raw.
It's about the intentions.
I have a perfect heart. If you asked my uncle and you asked my cousin about me and how I stand with them 10 toes down, they won't come back and be, well, he doesn't always get the pronouns right. They'll be like, no, that's my motherfucking,
that nigga love me.
He the one that stood up in church and said, what the fuck are you doing trying to ostracize my cousin? That's who he is.
Right.
So it's that type of thing. So anyway, I'm already doing it. Calibra says, yeah, SZA is hot brown sugar butter.
Yes, she is.
Listen, Calibra Mike, you know me. I like my women like I like my grits. All right. Thick, chocolate, and black as hell.
Oh, Lord.
Now, I don't know how to make grits, which is why I don't eat them, okay? But no, I'm just joking. Emma says, I've seen Kendrick twice, so I chose to see Metallica at the end of the month. I didn't know Charlotte had a train system. I'm coming from Greensboro. Is there a specific stop I should use to avoid the train traffic after the show? I don't have all of that information for you because it was our first time using the train system. I would not call it a train system. It is a light rail.
It's a light rail.
We did a park and ride, so I don't know how far from out of town you can go with that.
Right.
And the park and ride does work, but you need to find basically a parking lot, get on the stop. I don't know how big that Metallica concert is going to be. So I mean, if it's sold out in the Panthers Stadium, I'm gonna tell you right now, the closest stop to the stadium is probably like a 10 or 12 minute walk, and the wait to get on the train was probably about, I mean, if you wanted to get on one that wasn't super crowded, it was me, my mom, and Karen. You needed to wait probably an extra 30-40 minutes before you were going to get enough people out of the station to where it was like, okay, now we can take a train home. So just giving you all that information,
Right.
But I don't know. It would really depend on how big that crowd is going to be, because that determines stuff like parking and all that.
And also, I would actually just search on the internet Charlotte Park and Ride, and it probably will give you like a list of the stops and how far they are, and you probably can probably have a big ass map to show you, so you can kind of map out and plan out in advance. So you probably come halfway or whatever, park and ride, so you won't be fighting that traffic.
Yeah. So this is we kind of experimented and learned. There was a big day to do that because honestly, like a lot was happening compared, like the Love and Life thing was downtown. So like if Metallica is the only thing in town, you'll probably be fine.
Yeah, but if it's other shit happening, who knows?
Yeah, but with us, it was like 2 festivals happening that were highly attended anyway. So it was like we was pushing our luck with that, but it worked out anyway. All right, let's see. Poll: do you plan on attending the Kendrick Lamar tour this year? 30% of the audience said yes. 71% said no, and I would imagine part of that is because many people are like, you can't even get tickets now.
Right.
All right, let's go to some music, and then we'll come back and we will do some more of the show. All right, let's do this one. Psycho music.
Psycho
music.
I think that one was called. It's by Psycho Music called Sin Titulo. No title. All right. 3092. The second worst thing R. Kelly has ever done. Appia says, when people's rights are in danger or they suffer, I always think it could happen to me. Even if I'm hearing in a good situation, maybe this is what doesn't let me fall for demagoguery. I was one night in migrant housing center when my mother and I came to Germany. My father came 3 months earlier. It was just one night, but still, I'm not above anything. Always funny to me how Karen, who is younger than me, loves to say how very old she is. It is not possible. You are practically a baby, Karen. The devil really seemed nice in this one story. Maybe he went to therapy, worked on himself, and changed. He has seen what the American administration is doing and was bored, wanted to change things up. After all, he is a fallen angel, Bible stuff, and knows deep down what's good. If so, there's really hope for everyone. Sean says, that guy at Dairy Queen learned the hard way. You come for the queen, you best not miss. That being said, Dairy Queen in most locations is at or near the top of fast food hamburgers in the U.S. You should try them out sometime.
I did not know that.
I don't think I feel like I've had a Dairy Queen burger, but I'm not sure. So, you know what, Sean? Challenge accepted. I will go get me a Dairy Queen burger.
I don't remember. I ain't even gonna lie.
Yeah, I will go get me a Dairy Queen burger one day this next week and try it. And I'll come back and tell you guys about it. You know, we'll see what it tastes like. Hopefully you're right. And I can tell the audience it was delicious. And if not, then you will have to PayPal me some money to pay me back. EVE says, I'm a little confused about what you meant about the type of music R. Kelly made popular. Did you mean the closet style R&B, trapped in the closet style R&B where he's not really singing but kind of storytelling, or like straight up begging like Keith Sweat? I can't believe that was confusing. I thought it was kind of open to
the sing talking.
It's the sing talking. Begging like Keith Sweat is not a problem. I love begging.
Me too. I love me some Keith Sweat.
I'm not a huge Keith Sweat guy like that, but I think we lost a lot in R&B when niggas stopped begging for pussy. It really fucked the whole game up.
Yes, it did.
Like, R&B dudes not begging women is one of the inflection points of R&B. When they started being like, women should want to fuck me because I'm such a great guy, or, you know, whatever, and I will fuck your girl at the concert and all this shit. It just lost something. It was better when you would have like one dude in the group that couldn't even really sing that much, but he would be doing that thing like 3/4 of the way through the song, like, hey girl,
come on,
you know, when I slept with your sister, I'm sorry.
Come on, what happened? I wanna please you. Yes, child. I love me some Keith Sweat. Like, hey girl, you special to me.
Yeah, I don't think Keith on those tracks seemed to be the strongest singer, but he was one of the strongest beggars. So I thought I was pretty clear in what I was conveying, but maybe I messed up somewhere.
But that's what we meant, baby.
But
the
sing talking shit like Trey Songz does, Chris Brown does. It's like they're half rapping, half singing. They're not singing. They're just rap singing. You know, I remember he did it on I'm sure there's a song before this or whatever, but the one I remember the most is him being like, I'm not trying to be rude, and baby girl, I'm friend of you, and I'm like, this is not fucking singing.
No, that's not.
And of course you sound like you fuck kids. I want to toot, and then the beep beep. What is this, Thomas? Yes, nothing, no. What is this, Thomas the Train? Fuck that shit.
No, I was agreeing with you. It does sound like
you made the same yes you did when you said begging from Keith Sweat, Karen. I heard it. Deep down, you was liking it. Either way, some of the latest,
like it at the time.
Either way, some of the latest stuff that passes for R&B is straight ass. I'm sorry, but I think a lot of these guys like Trey Songz and Jock are straight. Jacquez, I don't even know how you say his name. Are straight garbage. Give me an old school Luther track anytime. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna revise history like I wasn't bopping to it. I was.
Yeah, that yes came out. It was very obvious that you loved it. And the point I was making is it sounded like he was fucking kids, and you was like, yes, oh yes, it was so good.
I did not know at that time he was fucking kids. Okay?
Take me back there.
No, don't take me back.
Songs was count doing 1 play, 2 play,
12 play. Yes,
you knew what he was doing. He was talking to fucking kids.
He was.
You remind me of anyway. Comments on the second worst thing R. Kelly ever did, 3092 on YouTube. Yo, Paul Pierce is too old to be that damn ignorant. says Lamont, that's the attitude that limits black men and they end up alone and miserable. There's nothing wrong with loving a woman. That dude's been hurt.
Yeah, it's some pain now.
I always wonder, like, do they not know we can see them?
They don't care.
Like, where are the people in their lives that would be like, brother, therapy?
The person that said that, no longer their friend. Like people get to a certain point, well, I guarantee you, somebody was like, hey, you need help, and they like, get the fuck out of here. Like, they get rid of all those people.
Like, before you pick up that podcast mic, how about we get you a little therapy?
So we can work through this.
How about how about before you voice these opinions, as if you have any expertise on this subject other than just you have lived life and you've decided that women is the problem? How about we do a little something different? Isn't that lane already full?
I guarantee you it's jam packed.
Why don't you want to be different? Why be the 900,000th nigga on the microphone being like, the problem with society is these fucking women. It's not
bitches.
Us at all. They always want stuff.
All right, that I'm attracted to, but I really don't like them.
Why would I ever get married? It's only good for a woman. It is bad for me as a man that only wants to have sex with a lot of different women all the time. The girl on the other side of the road said people will never be sorry for voting for Trump. It'll be anything else's fault but theirs, because admitting to it will hurt their ego and make them feel blamed for everything. Thus, waiting for an apology will never work. People's kids would die because of Trump, and they would say, but the Democrats weren't good at messaging. Correct. Alicia says, that is the crazy part to me. They will find another reason or person to blame for what he has done, and I'm also annoyed because everyone except for the most black people can't admit Kamala didn't win because she was a black woman. Crazy. This is upside down for real. Agree with both. Printers are equal opportunity haters. Wired, wireless, USB, parallel, serial. It don't fucking matter, says Mwanganji. He also says, ice in your water is a thing I noticed while traveling outside of the U.S. So now when I establish a rapport with the staff, I ask for American ice and we all laugh. Of course, since time is a flat circle, folks is back to referring to themselves as Canadian in international situations now. So I would advise against this tactic unless you can pass as not white. Unless you can pass as not white. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, as a black person, I feel like if I travel somewhere and I say I'm American, they not associating me with Trump. So I'm good. I'm good in any neighborhood. Alicia says, speaking of the music from the 90s, y'all remember that song Ladies Night with Missy and Lil Kim, Da Brat, Left Eye, etc.? Yeah, I remember that song. That's like one of the last times we really had a women's posse cut.
Collective, yeah.
Yeah, I want to say I Want to Be Down remix was another one. Freedom from the Black Panther soundtrack was another one. I don't know, the Panther soundtrack, not Black Panther soundtrack, but that one, because I think they had an R&B mix and a rap mix on that one. That was a good one. Anyway, I love that song, and I'm praying this new cohort of female rappers do a remake. Shit, they remake literally everything else. I can see Flo Milli, Lotto, Doechii, of course Meg and Glow, and maybe SZA and the Bailey sisters on the chorus. Yeah, as long as we don't get it's so funny, we're saying all this and we all have the unspoken, like, as long as Nicki Minaj don't show up, they might actually work together.
They might work together.
But nah, I would love to see the girls get together. It's so funny because I think one of the big times that we would get stuff like that used to be movie soundtracks, and now we don't really do a lot of original score for movie soundtrack. It's a lot of like, oh, pick this song from over here, or here's a play, almost like a mixtape, one original song and then a mixtape of other people's songs. It would be cool if someone took it back to the old school where we had like the Above the Rim soundtrack or Panther soundtrack.
And like you say, it used to be back in the day where some songs you can only get them on a soundtrack. They ain't come out of nobody's album. They ain't come out of a cut. Nothing like that. Like you said, you rarely get it. A lot of times, like you said, if you get a soundtrack, it's a collaboration, a little bit of everything. A lot of times there's songs that were made in like because we're old, the 2000s, the 2010s and shit like that. Like, oh, you remember that?
Yeah, we used to, so I'm not saying it'll be stuff made back then. I'm saying like new movies, it'll be like contemporary songs, but it's just they're not made for this movie. It's just like, here's 12 songs. You see what I'm saying? Like they make soundtracks all the time. It's just like, if you, I don't know, I'll put it in the like if I put it in the Twitter, Spotify, Sinners, it has an original motion picture soundtrack. So it's like they have, this happens all the time.
Okay.
Now this one's probably not a good example because I'm pretty sure Ryan Coogler would not let this be some bullshit. So it's gonna be some new stuff. But like, I guess if I put in maybe Thunderbolts, I wonder what would happen with Thunderbolts if I put that in. Yeah, Thunderbolts original motion picture soundtrack. And it's all by Son Lux. So it's basically, this is the other thing I was gonna say. You also have this like, this one group made this soundtrack. Like, it's not a collection of what we used to have, where it's like, like if you put in Above the Rim, it's Tupac, it's the Dog Pound, it's Queen Latifah. It's
like
that.
Love Jones,
Love Jones, yes.
Love Jones
like
is a
we
prime
don't
example. The songs, they were everywhere.
We don't have that much anymore.
Okay, I see. Now that I agree. Yes, and some of them songs didn't even make the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
like
I'm with you now.
Yeah,
yes.
like we used to do that all the time, and now, like you said, it's either a mixtape of like, remember these songs from the 90s, or it's like I said, a lot of stuff that is contemporary, but it's just very disparate. They're not connected. There's not a theme. They're just picking songs to be like, this will be a cool song.
They don't have a flow to them. Yes.
Yeah, like I'm looking on the Accountant 2 soundtrack. Well, actually, no, that's not right, because this one just says a playlist. So I don't even know if they had a real soundtrack. Anyway, I'm getting on a tangent. I'm sorry, this isn't important. See, I do it to myself too, Alicia. I'll stop my own tangent.
He has the self-control.
Dragon Love from Chicago says, got me laughing over here, thanks. Cali Bro Mike says, January 4th and this shit is still being broadcasted, man. This editing is an 8.7 on the gender war scale. Cokie Negra says, congrats on the new car. Jason says, unpopular opinion, the Big Pimpin' on the Above the Rim soundtrack is better than Jay-Z's Big Pimpin'. Of course, part of that is colored by the fact that that's what's bumping when Tupac and them pull up to the basketball tournament. Yeah, the shootout, which turned into a shootout. That scene is hard. Also, the fact that the Tupac song that is played literally all throughout the movie was not on the CD version. Soundtrack should have been a class action lawsuit for everyone who bought that soundtrack.
Looking for that song.
I used to hate that shit. Where you're like, you can't just trick me like that. I've come to the conclusion that gender wars featuring a wealthy dude is usually better than gender wars featuring a broke dude. You get the same dynamic of poor white people riding for Trump. Fellas will passionately and illogically ride for someone who absolutely does not care what they think. This creates the potential of maximum ignorance. Good point. Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
That's probably how they get extra points, because of that too.
Do you prefer room temperature water when you go out to eat?
No.
18% does, 82% does not, which is why I don't understand why any fucking restaurant would serve it.
Ask.
Like, why would you serve it default room temp?
Right.
80% of the people are like, I'm expecting some ice. I'm expecting cool, cold water.
And it's actually more work for you. So unless you're going to have ice in the water, like ice in the container, whatever you're pouring out of, they're going to turn around. A lot of people ain't like you. They're going to be like, can you give me some ice? So now you're actually doing more work. Just put the ice in there up front.
Now I'm really going to have to earn my supper here, because this is the latest episode, 3093, Kendrick Lamar and Sinners, and it's us, Mike, Bossy, from the Idea podcast, and you guys of course had a shit ton to say. So here we go. Whew. Rona Raphael says, I abstained from voting in the poll, however I abstained from saying Karen be knowing. The poll, what was the poll? It was, should J. Cole be in the big three? Okay. Great breakdown by everyone. Fun fact, I felt my comment was too long on the spoiler movie review. I had written on how Buddy's facial scars look like a Yoruba facial scar, then erased because the Black Guy Tips Award winner here got to consider my good brother Rod. So was glad that Bossy brought it up in a much better way. By the way, go see Sinner's Show and watch out for my blues album. Sin City says, people forget Beyonce is one of the greatest rappers of 2010s. It's definitely not J. Cole. Yeah, she could be third. Who knows? Yeah, no offense to J. Cole, but I'm not putting him in the big three. Not to me. Julian says, Ryan, you my guy because you said exactly what I've been thinking about Sinners. Some folks are really trying to force this narrative about Asian identity tying it to higher education and proximity to whiteness into the film, but honestly, that feels like a stretch. From the jump, Lisa is shown to be super skeptical of everyone and everything. That's key. The way Grace took out her husband, stood on business while she herself caught on fire, was her way of saying, if I can eliminate my husband, then no one can use either of us to get to Lisa. Yeah, because if she or her husband shows up at the door, her daughter is going to let them in.
Of course.
That's, and I'm not saying it's a foolproof plan, but in her mind, she's like, my daughter's not letting in a stranger or any of these other people into the house, so I can eliminate this problem for me and my family right now. And what I would say is, the movie doesn't give us any reason to feel that, in my opinion, that is an Asian thing, or that is a thing that no one else would have folded on, because no one else is challenging that way.
Right.
If Remick would have used one of those people to be like, we're gonna go kill Preacher Boy's daddy and the congregation and your brothers and sisters, maybe we would see a contrast where he's like, kill him then, fuck it, or I'm not coming out, and we go, oh, he's standing 10 toes down where Grace could not. But we didn't get that. So I'm not going to jump to the conclusion of, because of real life shit, that this movie is trying to imitate when Asian people do that model minority bullshit. Right. I didn't feel that. I feel like if they wanted to do that, Lisa and them would have literally joined up with the vampire, because the vampire kind of represented that joining into this, this club. Anyway, we watched that movie and asked if that girl looks like she accepts candy from strangers. So by removing themselves, Grace made sure Lisa couldn't be lured in. That wasn't weakness or treachery. That was protection. That was love. Yeah, shout out to my girl Reagan Gomez. She said that on Twitter, and I know she got media literacy. That's why I fuck with Reagan. But she was like, if you look at this through this movie, so many of the decisions that were made were out of love and protection.
Yes.
Julian 3000 also says, no one else in that building really seemed to have deep ties with anybody outside. Smoke's girl was in there with him. I don't think Sammy likes his preacher daddy that much, that the other ladies out here cheating on her husband, and Slim has all he needs in their drink. Well, I think the Sammy thing, if Remick would have said, I'm gonna go kill your family, because remember they show Sammy waking up all his siblings earlier in the day, I do feel like that might have made, at least given Sammy something to think about. But my guess is whoever he had absorbed didn't really have that type of deep tie into what Sammy's weaknesses would be. Meaning that even though he had absorbed Stack at that point, I don't think it didn't seem like Stack hung around the family. They were just taking Sammy for a day out. Where if Stack had hung around Sammy's family and know the siblings and all that,
he would have used it.
Then I think Remick would have definitely used that to try to get to Preacher Boy, and we will find out if that would have moved Preacher Boy or not. I don't know if it would have.
Right.
JL Covan says, I had asked Rod if there was a closing scene, not the Buddy Guy scene, which I did see the first time, and if I should go see it again for that. He told me I did miss a scene, but it was not worth an entire rewatch. Well, in an effort to support black capitalism, despite Rod's clear antagonism, and trying to keep dollars and generational wealth away from the Coogler family, I saw it again. It's a great movie. JL Jinx alert. Let's see Annie stop this. I thought it was the best performance of Michael B. Jordan's career, and I really think there was no weak point in the movie or cast, perhaps too heavy with score usage. Since I am much smarter on movies than I am on Kendrick Lamar, though I did appreciate and learn a ton from Rod's online course on Kendrick and Drake. I think much like NFL fans who kept comparing Mike Vick to Randall Cunningham instead of the much more clear Steve Young comparison, I felt a lot of Christopher Nolan influence in his work, went unspoken in the Coogler Kendrick talk, and he did advise Coogler on IMAX technique. Sidebar: Coogler's praise of The Dark Knight should settle any Black Panther The Dark Knight debate, in quotes. Actually, no, I don't think it does. And let me tell you why. It's like if Michael Jackson said one of his influences was a guy who made honky tonk music in 1905. That does not make me be like, well, that honky tonk music is superior to what Michael Jackson went on to make. No, I still would be like, this Michael Jackson shit is amazing, and credit to his source. That guy was good for his time, we love to see it as well. And I'm not a person that hates on Christopher Nolan, but that don't make his movie better than Black Panther. That's all. But I think Bossy and Mike would have smashed me in the head with a guitar if I brought Christopher Nolan into this. Well, that's because you bring him into everything. I think the movie will be a contender for all major awards, but the early release will inevitably make it more difficult than if this had been released in October or November. I agree. Like that, the same thing happened with Get Out, where like it did end up, I believe, winning some stuff, but it was very much like, if that doesn't come out in like the beginning of the year, it's hard. It's just hard to keep it on people's minds as time continues. Because I remember Get Out had one of the biggest critic press like run things. Like they were constantly sending us a bunch of shit throughout the year to be like, hey, don't forget, here's the soundtrack, all types of collectibles. Here's a book, here's the this, here's the that. Like it was like get out. Because I mean, how do you keep people engaged for essentially a year? Like,
yes,
people think of it like, oh, the end of the year is when the end of the year is when the big push for like the last minute movies to win the award are. But like the actual award show is like another couple months after that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is.
So you basically need to keep people from April to like February of next year understanding and appreciating this. Same thing happened with Everything Everywhere All at Once. It came out so early that by the time it came up, it was like, is it going to win? I remember how I felt about that movie. I remember thinking it was great, but now we're 10 months removed from that. Can it keep that momentum?
Yes. Yeah. Like you said, and depend on how things fall and things like that, and how the studios lay their shit out. It's just some shit they just like, nope, put it up in the earlier part of the year for whatever reason.
Yeah. So, okay, Miss Barnes says Everything Everywhere All at Once came out around Oscar time the year it was released, but it was heavily nominated the following year. Yeah, so like, did it not make the cutoff? I just remember
I don't
that
think it made the cutoff.
I remember when that shit came out, that it was like, can it keep everybody's like focus on how great it was until it is time to vote for it? So I don't remember the exact date that it was released. So yeah, March 11th. Okay, yeah, March 11th, 2022. And let's see, Oscars date 2022. Sorry to do this research live on the air. Was March 27th, which means it probably was not qualifying for it. You need to release somewhere around like December, I believe. So you had to keep that momentum for a year. Sinners came out in April, so we're talking March to April, 1 month difference. So now you need to keep that momentum for 11 months essentially, and make people remember this was great, you loved it, it was great. And our cynical microwave ADHD society will be like, but what about this thing? Or now that everyone loves it, here's a hot take, what if we didn't love it? So it's got to go through that gauntlet to make it back to this. And I can see that, being a thing that will lose some momentum. And because some people are racist in the Academy, you'll have to deal with that as well. So like, it's got an uphill battle to, if it's going to be like Bossy said, where she wants it to win everything, it's got an uphill battle is my point.
Yeah, and this is why sometimes a lot, and everywhere, everything everywhere all at once. And a lot of these movies that have a tendency to come out at the earlier part of the year end up getting re-releases, like sometimes several times. Like a lot.
I hope that helps too, because Sinners getting re-released in October,
and then they, like you said, they do right around the end of the year. And a lot of times that gets people back into the theaters to kind of refresh their memories.
I hope so. He goes on to say, but my one Plessy sister, Haley Steinfeld, and everyone else non-black seem to be taking a little extra heat from Bossy and Mike that I'm not sure Coogler intended. I also found Sammy's father a pretty nice religious figure in the movie, warned his son, did not shun his son, welcomed his son back. Even the twins spoke of their uncle as a good man. So I was not sure why he caught more heat during your discussion. Well, here's the thing. Two things. Okay. The first one is Bossy and Mike be on TikTok and they be seeing white people dancing to Kendrick Lamar when he's talking about 40 Acres and a Mule. So they're a bit more militant than I am about the guardrails of black art and how much they want white interlopers to like back down and stop fucking with shit. I don't engage in those TikTok discussions, so I don't see I don't see what they see to make me feel the way that they feel about like, oh, these white folks, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, whatever. If you make great art, white people exist and they know what great art is, they're gonna want to come in and watch it, you know. So I don't feel that. As far as the father thing, I don't think he caught that much heat. I think you may be, but as a religious person, you may be a little oversensitive to critiques of religion in that way. I know you're running real high for having a new pope and everything, who is also a J.L. Covan pope, you know what I'm saying? Okay. The beige rage is up in him. Okay. He might tan a little. He might have to be careful how much he tans in the summer, if you know what I'm saying. But I think what we were saying is two things about the father of Sammy. One, put the guitar down, which they emphasize on him multiple times. It was put the guitar down. Sammy does not put the guitar down. But that feeling and that disapproval he had of not just the blues and Sammy's talent, but of the fact that he's not using it to serve the Lord, is a type of judgment and a type of historical, especially in the South, black religious dogma that has been in many cases the opposite of freedom for people. And while I thought we did a good job of putting how generationally his father was a good dude, so I think that is definitely in our conversation about how their uncle, their father for the twins, was abusive.
Yes.
Sammy's father doesn't hit him and seem to have found religion as the way to break the cycle on his side, but that does not mean that made him a figure in Sammy's life that was extremely supportive of Sammy's pursuit of music and whatnot. So there is a judgment that comes from the father in this film, and the reason we never see Sammy put that guitar down, the tool that saved his life, is clearly that as a protagonist, we are supposed to identify, I believe, with Sammy over his father and going, you don't need to put the guitar down. Like, that is your gift. That is your calling. He just don't really understand. You don't need to run to religion and Christianity as salvation because you had a harrowing experience last night. And if anything, it felt a little manipulative of the father now, and I'm not saying he was being manipulative, right, but it felt like, oh, you're at your weakest point. You just saw your cousin die. You just saw something scary out there. Fold yourself up into what I've always wanted you to be and join my religion and use your gift only for the church and all this stuff. That's how it felt to me. I thought that was the subtext. So I don't necessarily think that any of us called him a bad man. He was understanding the world in the way that he could understand the world. But I just think we were also not treating him like he's the hero of the story or whatever. It's like, yeah, he's a good man, he's doing the best he can, but in the eyes of the narrative they're telling, he's not the answer or the salvation either. He's trying to do it the way that he can to relate to his son. But in that moment, it was more about getting his son in the fold rather than even asking his son what happened or trying to
get a better understanding,
trying to like comfort him. It was okay. So now it was like the prodigal son. Now that you have returned, bow down to the Lord and, follow the path that I've told you to be on. That's what it was. And so I can see how, as a religious person, that would sound like, oh, he's a great man to you. But to me, I'm like, no, you're not seeing your son. You're seeing an opportunity for your son to join the fold. That's it. This episode was a Rod Rogan 3 hours, but well worth it. Future race wars, gender wars content. Haley Steinfeld gets the only nomination for Sinners next January. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem.
Oh yeah.
If that happens,
folks gonna be highly upset.
I'm deleting my social medias for like a month. Yeah, I'll come back when y'all are done.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get that foray.
They better not. That's all I'm saying. They better not. But yeah, anyway, I appreciate you writing in, JL, and I appreciate you taking some shots back, okay? I know I take a lot of one-sided shots your way, and I can take them the back, but I will defend myself, as always, okay? I'm not no cuck. John Baby John says, I've heard a couple reviews of Sinners now, but I don't think I've heard anyone mention the cameo by Chris Stone Kingfish Ingram, who was on stage with Buddy Guy in the scene after the credits. Kingfish was a blues prodigy as a teenager, and I've been a fan of his for a couple years. I believe he is from Clarksdale, Mississippi too. Anyway, to me that was Coogler showing how Sammy had taken a young musician under his wing and was paying for whatever Slim poured into him during this short relationship as performers. All right, that's dope. Thank you, John Baby John. EVE says, I still haven't seen Sinners yet, mainly because of the time restraints recently, and when I do have time, the theaters in my area are still full. I'm still super excited to see it and will make a point to do it this weekend. This review made me even more excited to see it. Sorry to Mike, but I couldn't name a single J. Cole song at gunpoint, and that is nothing against J. Cole, but I have heard a couple of Future songs. Not saying he should be in the big three either. I'm not sure who would currently be in the big three, but Kendrick would be one of them. Not sure who the other two would be. At the beginning of last year, most people would have said Aubrey Graham was in the big three, but now he's a joke. Yeah, I think people would still put Drake in the big three of his era. I think Kendrick is in the big three of that same era. I just don't know about the J. Cole thing, and I mean, I don't think it's a knock on him to say that. I just don't see him as, I see him as a guy that brags about that type of shit, but I don't see him as a guy who is that type of shit. And it's no offense to him. He could not sell out a stadium. And because of the style he's chosen to have, it's not very repeatable or influential in that way. Meaning we don't have no mini J. Coles. We don't have people trying to be J. Cole. We got a bunch of little mini Drakes. We got a bunch of people thinking they could be Kendrick or glom on to Kendrick, even though he's a singular talent in itself. But it's more intimidating that his skill level is so unique that I think people are like, I can't even try this shit.
Nope.
With Cole, I just think he's just in his own lane.
Yeah, and one of one.
And he hasn't really tried to do a lot of collaboratory work in that. He has his people that he has under his wing, but I don't see him as a guy who's trying to like be out front with he's not hopping on everybody else's single and all that shit, and which is fine. I always respected that about him, honestly. Nerdy Sensei says Sinners use of Sammy's drive back to his dad's church as both the opening and the post-turmoil scenes was executed so well. As the opening, it filled the air with dread and despair as we watched a survivor find his way home after near death. When it appeared the second time, as it naturally occurred in a series of events that came beforehand, it filled the air with relief and comfort. I really loved how that scene was able to carry so much emotional weight. Something that made me think about how good Sammy is as a person was that I believe he left to not only follow his dream but also to protect his family from any more potential supernatural threats. He was probably afraid that some other devil might hear his gift, making his father warning easier to visualize. Ooh, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Could have been. Abia says, I've watched a lot of movies. If I watched a lot of movies, I would consider Sinners. I'm so fun. My friends, not concerts, too many people, not movies, too long. I swear I'm a good time. Just this week, I had a 3-day bender. I didn't come home for 2 nights. Oh, well, who am I kidding? It was a neurology congress. Yeah, that does sound mad boring. I mean, I'm sure you think it's fun, but seemed kind of boring to me. Tanya W42 says, I loved Sinners, but I had a similar experience to Bossy. I didn't know it was about vampires, but I was so focused on avoiding spoilers, I had no idea Michael B. Jordan played 2 roles. So the first time that Smoke and Stack were on screen, I felt incredibly racist because I couldn't figure out which one was MBJ. Then I realized, facepalm. But what a profound, beautiful movie. Relaxed pace at the beginning, such a breath of fresh air. I love the world building and the music and the cast stunning. Yeah, them jump scares at the beginning though, they let you know some shit was coming. Sinners was definitely more elaborate, but it did remind me of a bit of Penny Dreadful Season of Angels. I really wish that show wasn't canceled after the first season. Yeah, I never saw that one. I love Penny Dreadful and never saw the spinoff. Miss Barnes says, woo, Sinners has changed my movie and music life. I have never spent good money to see a movie in the theater 3 times, yet here I am. I have been at the movies every weekend since Sinners opened, and when I saw Thunderbolts New Avengers, I was trying to figure if I can add Sinners as a double feature, but I reserved my third watch for tomorrow, for Mother's Day tomorrow. All of that to say thank you for such a good show, as I always love Bossy's input on Kendrick and Sinners. Also, I stands One Me Mosaku. Woo, let's go to YouTube. We got 16 comments. Here we go.
I had a lot to say.
Karen always says that when you guys have a lot to say.
Yes, I know I'm stating Miss Obvious. I'm sorry, y'all.
It's okay. I understand. I'm reading a lot and I need the breaks anyway. Cheyenne says, "Oh my God, Karen, thank you for pointing out that the sex scenes had no nudity. It's so refreshing that the typical horror, bare skin, shock value I avoid. I really appreciated the choices made in Sinners, and I had a great time watching it. It's double, triple the fun with post-movie commentary from y'all." S. Carter says, Remick wanted Sammy's gift so that he could connect to his ancestors. Sammy's gift was crossing the barrier of time. He saw him call forth the ancestors in junk and wanted his gift to do that for him. He says it when he is baptizing Sammy, and it calls back to what Annie said about vampires being stuck on Earth and not being able to connect with their ancestors. I agree completely, except I think what you're replying, my guess is what you're replying to is us saying that we believe Remick would have used Sammy's gift to lure in even more people. And I just don't think those two things offset each other. I think both ideas work in concord. Meaning that I honestly thought it was a given that what you just explained, I thought was obvious. The movie says it right to your face. Well, we were talking about something which is a little more subtle and a little less obvious, which is the gifts of Sammy in the hands of Remick, who has shown himself to be a gluttonous, bottomless
manipulator
pit of greed, would not stop at, well, now I get to see my ancestors whenever he plays music and I am satisfied. No, it will be like, and now I use him to get every person,
every living human being.
I will gather as many people as I can now that I have such a powerful tool. I mean,
Whole towns. He'd been taking them out.
He was using that banjo whack ass pick the Robin Clean music just because that he could get him to sing it. Like it wasn't even anyway, he would have used that gift for bad.
Yeah, and I think at that time, all jokes aside, that was the only tool he had, because all jokes aside, everybody else, they didn't have Sammy's gift.
Yeah.
So, they weren't singers and the performers, so it was like, well, this is all I got, so I guess this is what we're going to do.
Imagine he shows up to that black town they mentioned in the movie earlier, and he has Sammy's gift with him. Yeah, that's what we were thinking about. So you're not wrong. I think we all agree on that point. It was just we were moving a little past that point. TKG1 says, great show, love the discussion in the group dynamic. Imani says, what a great convo. I'd be interested to know if you all noticed people's eyes glowing. I noticed that Sammy's dad's eyes was glowing when he was pushing religion in the beginning of the movie. I felt that other characters' eyes glowed when they were trying to convince other characters to do a thing they didn't want to do. Michelle replies, now I have to watch again. Interesting. I did not notice the eye glowing thing. I haven't seen anyone else bring up the eye glowing thing. Not saying you're wrong. I just would need to watch it some more times before I to specifically look for that, because I didn't notice anything. I just thought that was the IMAX making these niggas look gorgeous.
Right? Amazing.
Kendrick and Kugler both worked on the Black Panther soundtrack together, says Eb Ness. That's correct. They did. So maybe that's why their art feels simpatico lately. Mwanganji says, great panel, dope thoughts, new angles, loved it. Alicia says, 3+ hours, this was a treat. I love when Bossy stops by. And hey, new Mike. Yeah, this was so long, I couldn't get my computer to convert the file to add the intro and outro to it. So I had to actually just upload the raw video to
It was
YouTube.
like, here you go.
Yeah. So if you guys don't see the intro on this one, that's what happened.
Why.
No one said anything about it though, which makes me think maybe those who didn't like the intro doth protest too much. No one wrote, thank you, Rod. That 4 seconds of my life that I couldn't stand watching your new intro is gone. No one said that. Why is that, everybody? All right. Jinxful says, to defend Cole, I should stop reading right there, because this is my problem with y'all Cole fans. This is the problem with the Cole fans. He don't really need defense. He really don't.
He is who he is.
He's in his lane. He's perfectly happy seemingly being in his lane. People that don't fuck with him. They're not required to fuck with your favorite artist. Period. They don't get it. Let them not get it. I get, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I was saying earlier when I brought up people not understanding Mr. Morale. I wasn't writing into their podcast to try to explain to them. I was just like, they don't get it. Fuck them. I'm right. They wrong. But okay, I will read this. I just want you to know that this only harms the Cole shit. If I was J. Cole, I would actually be a little bit embarrassed by my fans and their online just way of like attacking people that are just like, I don't, he's not my cup of tea. It's like, oh, but let me tell you why. But okay, let's go through this. To defend Cole, one, just because you don't listen to an artist doesn't discredit their relevance. Not really a valid argument that you can't name a J. Cole argument. J. Cole, I think you meant song, when millions of people can. Okay, then why does that even need to be written into our show? You should keep that internally and be like, fuck Bossy's opinion on that. That's what I would do. If I, like, we're doing a podcast. Let's say Jinxful, you had a podcast and you had to talk about whatever the fuck. Let's say music, movies, whatever. Eventually we're going to get to somebody you just don't fuck with. Right? Don't matter how many other people fuck with him. I can't make you fuck with Wes Anderson or whoever. You name the person. There's somebody, because we all have somebody. Mm-hmm. It's just a fucking opinion. Okay. I'm not writing into your podcast like, excuse me. No, it's fine. It's
I
fine.
got something to say.
If, like, I might, now look, maybe it's an ugly thought. You don't want to hear it, but I assume this happens to us all the time in a lot of y'all's heads, and it's fine. I would probably just be like, oh, fuck them and fuck their opinion and move on. Like, well, they not right about that. People catch strays from us talking for hours a day all the time.
Yes, they do. Just a random bullet. You be like, goddamn.
And I'm sure some of y'all enjoy everything that we don't like and vice versa. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, all right, I'll keep going. But I'm just saying this. I don't know. And the reason I'm pointing it out is because J. Cole fans specifically have this issue. It has been, I told y'all, I listen to J. Cole. In this conversation, I was telling, even when Bossy would clown him, and even when Mike would, like, in my opinion, almost over defend him, I felt like I was being really reasonable and saying something over and over and over that I don't think anyone was listening to, which is, I am a fan of J. Cole. I do listen to his music. I do respect his talent and his skills. I like J. Cole music. It ain't the greatest for me, but I think dude has a lot of skills. And I've noticed this happens all the time. If you play something and you don't tell somebody it's J. Cole, all the time you'll see, oh, what's this song? Oh, it's J. Cole. That's J. Cole? It happens all the time. But it's just so interesting because I'm a fan of his. I'm just not a whiny bitch about it. Not saying you're a bitch, Jinxful. But I'm not. But over the years, a lot of his online supporters have been whiny bitches. Like, it's just, like, I used to go on message boards about music, and his fans got their own reputation as being fucking whiny ass complainers. And it's just like, y'all hurt his reputation, if anything. And I'm from North Carolina. I want this man to succeed and to have a proper place in the industry.
He gets a lot of money back.
Not just the money. I just think he's overall, I think dude is a much better guy than he gets credit for. Mm-hmm. But a lot of that is not him. It is his fans and their need to defend every fucking thing he does as the greatest. And it's just kind of whack, because unlike Kendrick or Drake, where they're at the top of the sales chart and stuff, where you kind of understand stan culture comes along with that, it's not really their fault. For Cole, he's not at the top of the charts like that for people to be like, damn, bro, y'all really on his dick. And so I think that's why you end up with all this pushback where it's kind of annoying. Even right now, I'm really more responding to, what are we doing this show, 15 years? 15 years of annoyance. Y'all, like I said, I'm a fan. Y'all don't ever hear me talk about J. Cole on this podcast. Why? Because his fans are overly sensitive. I can't say anything that isn't 100% flattering about this dude without us getting a comment about him from somebody at some point. So I stopped talking about him, which you think would be a detriment. If you a J. Cole fan and we're one of your favorite podcasts, wouldn't you want a guy like me being like, man, I fucking love this new J. Cole song? I can't even say when I love his shit, because if I say anything off of other than that, it's, here we go with the, well, you know he went platinum with no features. I know, nigga. Yes, we all know. Anyway. Sorry, Jinxful. This is not all about you. This is just my general Cole.
This is a collection.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because I agree with you. I just don't even think I would write in about number one. Like, yes, Bossy does not respect or like his music. She can't name a song. Why does that bother you so much? She just giving an opinion. It's just Bossy. It's just her. She the one hit play on her Spotify playlist, not yours. Two, Cole has shown growth over the years. I don't know how Bossy can make that claim if she doesn't listen. Yeah, so then why are you writing in? Self-explanatory, right? Not saying he's had a growth arc as wild as Tyler. Well, he hasn't, and that's what we were comparing him to, so that's probably what she's talking about. But there's definitely been progression in subject matter, at least by general rap standards, especially when you think about albums like For Your Eyes Only. Yeah, my main problem with that is that I too feel like Cole has not grown as much as some of these other artists have grown. But if that was some sort of like, you can't be in the big three shit, I don't think that would apply to J. Cole, because if Drake can be in the big three and has shown no growth, if anything, he's shown regression. If Future can be in the big three, he has shown no growth over the years of his career. I don't think growth is required to be in the big three conversation. So Cole is totally germane to the big three conversation if you would like to have it. He's not in my big three. He's not in Bossy's big three, but he can be in your big three. It's not like, you know, there's no need to push back. We're all giving opinions. It's okay. But yeah, I'm just trying to help you. Next time you get ready to write something like that, take a breath and just go, and fuck their opinion and move on. Cause I really don't know.
Yeah.
This did not convince anybody. No one who is like, thinks J. Cole's not big three is going to listen to this and be like, yeah, man, I'm glad B Jinx for defending J. Cole. He's now in my big three. No. So it's okay. Michelle says Remick chose the song Pick Poor Robin Clean about a person being robbed at his introduction song Message. Michael was spot on. You can shine, but you don't outshine me or mine. I don't think Remick wanted the clan people because they did not bring any richness to him. He bit both of them and could only play the banjo. He wanted to have the culture. Sorry, I'm talking to the screen in the comments. Michelle says chef's kiss. Thank you. Someone replied, Remick is the white person who think they are allies, but they are not. Chocolate Lady Cap says, I slightly disagree with Bossy about Donald Glover. It is not that he doesn't like people. It's more that he dislikes black women. We disagree.
Yes, we do.
We just disagree. It is what it is. It's fine. We've covered it in depth, especially when we did This Too Much. And Bossy and I used to do Atlanta recaps on every episode. The podcast is still available everywhere. If you would like to hear our in-depth thoughts about Donald Glover and his relationships to black women, you can find it there. I also think he's been a victim of like the internet hate campaign.
Yes.
And it just shit gets out of control. They can take something where he said something in 2010 and they be like, it don't matter that he's done a bunch of work for 15 years that has shown the opposite of this joke he made in his stand-up special. Fuck it, that's who he is to me forever. And maybe he does hate black women. I just know that it's not in the work in that way. And in the couple of examples that people would cherry pick from his work, one, they're offset by other examples that show that clearly he either took that commentary in and put out work that was the opposite of that. I also noticed that people like to cherry pick stuff that doesn't make sense. So like he was behind the what was the name of that Amazon show with let me see give me 1 second. Because he did a show on Amazon, Swarm. He was behind the TV series Swarm, which people went up for. Okay. And it just does not matter. People are going to see it one way, the way they want to see it. And so those people are going to always internalize it as he hates black women no matter what the fuck he does. It doesn't matter what the black women that work with him say. It doesn't matter what the black women he empowers to be producers, directors, video. It doesn't matter. Those black women don't count. Only people who know him strictly from Twitter or whatever, only their opinions count. And you know, it is what it is. It's now something that has become its own thing. And even with Atlanta, what I find interesting is like some of that stuff he didn't even produce or direct. It's just because people don't know how Hollywood works. Some stuff he's just a name on, and some stuff he's literally behind the camera directing and show running. And so it just depends on your thing, but I would disagree that it's so blatantly in his work like that. And if and that's fine. If you don't agree, that's fine as well. But I think, and I think Bossy disagrees as well. And we're on record of breaking down his work and telling you when and where we think he either fucked up or did good.
And also, I think for me, particularly on social media, and I know for Twitter in particular, I just don't even talk to him because I don't even talk about Donald Glover or like even mention his name, Donald Glover and or Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, I like him. I enjoy his music. I enjoy his work. And whenever you would just put anything out there, you would just get random ass bots, and some of these people were real. They would just come out the woodwork. It's probably because they just search his name, and you'd be like, I don't know you. The fuck you over here for? Like, so all jokes aside, that hate train runs deep with him, and a lot of it, all jokes aside, come from community too, and a lot of it comes from people questioning his blackness and all that shit too. Like I remember these things, like you know, and I'm like, that's a nigga, you know. But yeah, it was like the whole time from the beginning, everybody, it was like this train just against him, and he just could not do right. And you know, nobody's perfect, and they fucked up. And the thing is, when people do the work, they don't have to do the work in front of you for you to validate them doing the work, because it wouldn't matter, because if you don't like somebody, regardless of if they do the work or not, you're still gonna have a problem. So I think a lot of the work and the critiques he had, he internalized it, fixed it, corrected some of them, because nobody's perfect,
right. And
his work reflected that, and nobody's looking at the reflection of the work on the back end. It's like they want to catch him in a bubble and say you are this forever, when nobody is their worst moment for all time.
Yeah, so you know, I get it. It's not, you know, it's not for everybody, whatever, but I've arrived at a different conclusion than a lot of people, and that's fine. I can't, whatever they think is what they think about it. And
Agreed.
I'm not going to try to convince them differently, but I watched all that same shit too. Me and Bossy reviewed all that same shit too. We arrived at different conclusions. And I would say my last thought on it is, I find it extremely interesting how many people excuse and let shit slide that is directly anti-black woman all the fucking time, when it comes from different people, and they worship these people as heroes. And yet Donald Glover, a guy who's done some complicated, intense work that has kind of run the gambit, and had some great portrayals of black women, some not so great ones, same thing with black men, same thing with every other kind of character on those shows. It's funny how they just want to stick that only to him. You know, I've had people that look up to Snoop Dogg and Anderson .Paak and shit, and then be like, but Donald Glover hates black women, you know, or whatever. I'm like, I don't know. Did he ever carry two around on the chains at a fucking event? Like, you know, I don't know. Is his music just calling them bitches and hoes and shit, or what? Like, what are we talking about? So it's just very interesting what sticks and what doesn't. But that's why you gotta stay off the internet. Social media, talking to these people. Rose says, please clip a short of the last 10 minutes. Y'all had me in tears. Thank you, everybody. Whew, that was a lot of comments. The poll was, should J. Cole be in the big three? 36% yes, 64% no. So, like, overwhelmingly, most people think he should not be in the big three. But I think 35% is a pretty good percentage. So that's not nothing to sneeze at, you know. All right, I'm gonna play a song, and then we're gonna see what this voicemail shit look like, because I have no idea what it's gonna sound like, guys.
We have no idea.
Find out together.
Are they gonna be real calls? Are they gonna be from the prison? We don't know.
All right, it's saying we have 4 voicemails. Let's find out how do you even play them?
We're about to find out together, sir.
If I double click it, oh, it's at the bottom. Okay.
Hey, Rod and Karen, it's Jen. I have a few more minutes left on the Sinners recap, and I wanted to call in before the feedback show tomorrow. I know this is y'all's first feedback episode with the new numbers, so hopefully this makes it to you. But I just wanted to say thank you for the recap. I love when y'all do a deep dive. I love any Bossy episode, honestly. And Mike was a great addition to the crew. And I love a deep dive episode. I think the last one that y'all did was the Kendrick Drake beef, and I was just love it. Yeah, and I just think that y'all made so many good points. I'm gonna miss so many of them, but my main one was just talking about the love letter to the South. I am from the Raleigh area, so for me it's just you don't really see that a lot, and I have lived in major cities for the past 15 years, so, and that's so much of a focus of all of these major movies, so to see something that was just really a beautiful depiction of the South was amazing. And it's funny, I've seen the movie, and a couple of days later I went to go work with one of these producers, and I was I don't know if I'm tripping, but I thought that's the best movie I've ever seen. And he kind of disagreed. He was I think it's getting hyped. I'm I don't know, casting, cinematography, direction, acting, music, I'm just I want to see, I'm going to see it again. I already got tickets for the IMAX, but the re-release here in LA, but I'm I don't know, I need to see it again, but I mean, it's definitely going in my top 5, so to hear y'all express that opinion, it just felt really good, because I feel like I'm tripping, and I've talked to people about really loving it, but they just think that it's hyped, and I'm I don't know, y'all need to take a step back, because this is a masterpiece, so I appreciate y'all breaking it down. I don't know how much time this lady gives me, but the last thing I wanted to say was that I know somebody had written in, I think you said it was Syncopathy or something like that. Maybe it was on YouTube, but they had asked about the banter song and if it was on streaming. And I didn't put that on streaming, because I know with YouTube and stuff, if you have music that's released, you could get copyright infringement if you get pulled. So I'm pretty sure why most podcasts get royalty free music is because they don't want to get that to happen. So yeah, anything I give y'all, I won't put on streaming, because I want you to be able to use it freely. So yeah, but if they want to, I can give them a link, or you can send them the link I gave you. They can have it. Y'all are great. Hope you have a great week.
So apparently it cuts off at 3 minutes, but you had got most of what you had to say out. So, but yeah, thank you for that. Mm-hmm. We appreciate you.
We do.
And yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the us talking with Bossy. I love talking with Bossy. I talk to her all the time. Sometimes it's I'm sometimes I'm man, we're having these conversations that I'm sure the podcast would love to be privy to, but that's also why you gotta go check out the Idea of podcast that she has right now, because she's having these conversations with Mike every week, and I listen to them. They're fascinating conversations about real life shit. So make sure y'all go support her over there. All right, go to the next one.
Hey, Rod and Karen, this is Simone, and I just wanted to say that I have really, really enjoyed these episodes where we kind of move away from the segments and you guys just do all banter, or even when you talked about your restaurant experience and stuff like that, you guys always manage to find the funny. And I just wanted to say, Rod, if you are ever, concerned that you did not kind of break it up and find where to put the ads, do not stress about where the AI chooses to place the ads, because I don't know if it's just the ads for me or where they break in for me, but the ads are always wild. They pop in. The transition is crazy, but it always cracks me up. Sometimes it cuts you off mid-sentence, but it's always funny to me. So, I mean, because I know eventually we're going to jump right back in, and I'm going to be back to listening and enjoying you guys. But I just find that part so hilarious. And I've really been enjoying the Guess the Race TikToks. Even when I watched the episode I'm listening or listen to the episode, sometimes I'll forget and I'll guess. It's very entertaining. So shout out to you guys for consistently being entertaining, funny, and just overall dope. Love y'all. Bye.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate that, because that's definitely something I think about when we do these episodes, and we have to have ads to make money, and also because we work with the Inflection Network, they need, they want us to have ad breaks. And so sometimes it's just easier when there's segments, because here's a segment break, here's a segment music, boom, throw an ad, And I know people probably skip a lot of them, whatever. I don't care about that part, but, it still helps to have the ad markers there. But when we just talk, sometimes I can get in my own head, because I'm like, oh, shit, where am I going to put the fucking ad? And I'm definitely not going back to listen to every syllable of this episode, so I can be like, okay, at the 30-second mark. So they have like this thing that generates ad markers for you, and you have to wait a little longer when I upload it. It takes like sometimes 30 minutes to an hour afterwards, and it's like, hey, here are some potential places you can add ads. I don't really know what the exact thing is being said at that moment, so I'm just trying to find places that are like spaced out enough for it not to fuck up the whole experience for y'all, so that it's not like every 5 minutes here comes 30 seconds of ads or 40, whatever. Right. I try to make it so it's like, okay, we recorded for 3 hours, 4 ad breaks sounds about right. That's like you're getting 45 minutes before you get an ad, then 45 minutes, so that's how I try to do it. Right. So it's good to know that it isn't hurting the experience too much.
It's not. As somebody who has listened to the podcast, whenever you do the AI breaks, and a lot of times it will pick like a pause, so sometimes it does stop mid-sentence, which is fine, because like they say, when it comes back, it just literally just picks right up where you left off. So it's not like this big disruption, in the conversation.
And I kind of hope that some of the ones that throw y'all off, I hope those are the ones that trick people into listening to them. That way we get a little more money. All right, I think the next voicemail is 2 parts from the same person. I think it's Dre.
Okay.
One's 55 seconds, one's 2 minutes. So here we go.
Okay. So with the new voicemail system, I see they have you say your name at the beginning. Maybe I might have fucked up. So if you get a voicemail from "oh shit," it's because what I meant to say was, "oh shit, I see we got a new voicemail number." You know what I'm saying, niggas?
Well, I want you to know what happened was that I had this thing. I didn't realize this option was going to do this. It tells you like, hey, put your real phone number in here for like a secondary line or something like that. I didn't understand it. When I was filling everything out, I just filled it out. And it was sending these calls to my phone. And then I was supposed to pick up the phone and say, 1, send in the voicemail, or 2, answer the call. I don't want that option. Right. Everybody that called this number, take their ass to voicemail. And so that's why I've turned that part off now.
And the thing is, I'm glad you did, because it sounded like everybody was calling from jail, because all of a sudden it'd be like da 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 from, hey, it's me, da 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 from Keisha, and I'd be like, why are we getting calls from the correctional center? What's happening here?
That is true.
Let's switch it up just so y'all know I might have made 2 mistakes in a row. You know what I'm saying? This is Dre, by the way, in case you didn't listen to the voicemails. But anyway, it's 980, because if you do just some dude named Walter Kramer, some shit like that. Anyway, I'm glad the voicemails are back, because when Skype was on this fuck shit, I left a voicemail, and then the next week, somebody said some shit. Anyway, I'm going to call back from my real voicemail.
Okay. So we got to the next one then. Here we go. This is 2 minutes.
Okay. Dre again. Now, this is the real message I actually wanted to leave. So I've been thinking, and all the talks that we be having on this podcast, the listeners and you all, we talk about the Democrats and Republicans all the time. And I'm starting to feel like I've identified one of the core issues that causes you to see Democrats never, ever be satisfied. And I really think it's just an overcorrection to the cult that is MAGA and Donald Trump. So essentially what I'm saying is, I think that people have watched Donald Trump's followers become so like unwilling to think critically, so willing to actually consider what they're supporting, and they just blindly support him anyway. And we are all so disgusted watching that. I think it's caused people, otherwise well-meaning people, to overly analyze and critique the Democratic Party to prove that they're not that, to prove that this is not a cult in the same way that Donald Trump is a cult. And as a result, what they've done is put us in a position where we can never really have anything, because no one will ever give any credit for anything positive that's done. No one will ever give any kind of grace for any oversight or mistake. It's everything has got to be so critically analyzed, and it's always got to be, oh, I'm not really a Democrat, but, oh, I don't really support the Democrats, but. And Republicans just never, ever do that. They never, ever qualify their statements. They're like, no, this is who I support, and everything they say is right. And I'm not saying it to give these people like some excuse. It's just what I think is happening. And I didn't say that to say anything else. There is no solution beyond that. I don't even know that there's anything that's going to change it. But that is what I think has been happening, and I've been wanting to say that for weeks. Anyway, love y'all. Glad the voicemail is back up. Peace.
Oh man, that is a good ass voicemail, bro. I completely see what you mean. Like, I definitely agree. Agree with you on that. Yeah, it's really is that simple for people. That where I think a lot of them are like, I don't want to look like I'm part of a cult. I don't want to be like them over there. And it's like, well, honestly, you just look weird. Like, maybe you should be thinking of it more like that. Maybe you should be looking at it more like we need to line up on our side, and we need to fight with the people that we're here with. Because I think we're having a very sad result, which is that people can't be proud of anything Democrats accomplish because they don't want to look like, I don't know what they think they look like. You know what I mean? Like that, whether it's a code or a cuck or just easily satisfied or not righteous enough or I'm compromising or whatever. Everyone wants their own brand to be like their thing. And I think you're right. I think you hit the nail on the head.
I agree. And also, this is the way I kind of look at it. I look at Democrat the same way as I look at feminism. And the reason why I say that is because when you say the word feminism, there are a lot of associations with it, good, bad, and indifferent. When you say Democrat, there's a lot of things associated with it, good, bad, and indifferent. And so when you talk to a lot of women, and I'm speaking for me personally, for a very, very long time, we used to have conversations on our show about feminism, and I'd be like, yeah, I agree, women should have the right to choose, but I don't want to be labeled a feminist because I don't want the bullshit that comes along with that. I don't want the judgment. I didn't want the arguments. I didn't want the pointless conversations. I didn't want the opinions that I ain't give a fuck about. You're free to do whatever the fuck you want to. Just leave me alone and let me do what I want to. And to me, it was that simple. But what I fail to realize is at the foundation, I'm talking about me particularly, at the foundation and who I am, I'm a feminist. And the thing is, when it comes to feminism and feminists, everybody thinks that their version is the right way. Just like Democrats. Everybody thinks that their version is the right way. Everybody else's version is wrong. And this is why you have a lot of this internal infighting with feminists. Because some feminists think it's feminism to be a stay-at-home mom. Some think it's a feminist to work. Some have babies, not have babies. Truth be told, all that is feminism. The choice. The choice is the feminism part. And people get so bad into the nuances of where we disagree versus saying, I don't give a fuck what you choose to do. That's feminism. You want to have a baby, not have a baby, be at home, not be at home, work, drive, whatever you choose to do, that's your personal version of feminism. And at the end of the day, I should have the right to have a baby or not. You should have the right to have a baby or not. You should have the right to stay at home, and I should have the right to stay at home. And I'll just say, no man no laws should be able to tell us anything different. And that's the fundamental thing about feminism. But there's so many divisions, there's so many subsections, there's so much argument that's been going on for decades. Same thing with the Democrats. So much division, so much argument, so much things that the past has impact Racism impacts both of these groups. Sexism impacts both of these groups. And so that's kind of how I look at it. And I'm like, hey, at the end of the day, everybody should have freedoms and everybody should have rights. Period. And all this subsection, all this other shit, all this critiquing, it don't matter. It don't matter. And it's very hard to get people to think outside of themselves and realize none of this other bullshit, it don't matter. It ain't solving nothing. Ain't nobody being free. At the end of the day, you have to do work. Feminism, you have to do work. Women had to fight for the right to vote. Women had to fight for the right to drive. Women had to fight for the right to have bank accounts. Democrats, you're going to have to fight. You just can't be spewing words that make you temporarily feel good for a moment and then don't want to take any personal responsibility when it's time for action. And that's another critique that I have for the Democratic Party. Too many people have too many step stools and too many platforms, but they ain't doing shit. But they consistently critiquing the one party that is trying to do something for them. And so that's why I say I agree with you when it comes to that. And as somebody, it's very frustrating because I don't give a fuck what your issue is or what your matter is. You should have the right to be here. You should not be deported. And that's the foundation of it for me. So like I said, all these other isms and schisms and all these other shit, these are internal personal things that our people are bringing to the Democratic Party, and they want to make the Democratic Party be responsible for their own shit instead of looking at the bigger picture of what the Democratic Party is trying to do. If you want freedoms, we are there for it. You want the right to vote, we are there for it. You want the right to be LGBTQ, we are there for it. You want the right to smoke weed, we there for it. Like instead of them looking at what the Democratic Party can do for them, they're too busy talking about the shit that is not doing for them. But the other side is not doing anything, and anything that you want to do, they're going, fuck that. Anything that you want, they're going, we don't care. Our whole thing is we gonna kill it, destroy it. That's what they're doing. They're tearing it down. We don't want you to have rights. We don't want you to have freedoms. And they're saying it boldly. And people, I feel like, don't fail to realize their apathy is an issue and it's a problem. And when you point that bullshit out, everybody act like you're the problem for saying, no, I am not the problem. I'm going to vote Democrat no matter what, and I refuse to be ashamed. I'm not going to be shamed out of voting for my rights and freedoms and somebody else's rights and freedoms too. And too many people have been shamed out of it, shamed out of being Democrats. They've been shamed out of it, and it's ridiculous. The party that's actually out here trying to be sure you don't die in the streets. People are going, I don't know. I got feelings. Both sides. Bitch, they ain't the same. They ain't. And they've been telling you for decades. If you've been paying attention, I'm 40-something years old. I've been voting long enough to know, bitch, they ain't the same.
I think also, I agree with everything you just said there. I think also, there's the social media aspect of being an individual and looking like, oh no, I'm beholden to no one. And this is a deeper level of thought on it that I'm sure some people will reject what I'm saying here, and that's fine. I find that to be a spinoff of white supremacy. And here's what I mean by that. Whiteness promotes objectivity as superiority, meaning I'm so above what is happening, I don't see it as a moral imperative. I don't see it as a right or wrong imperative. I'm just saying it's all messed up and I'm above it. I think Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, White Lives Matter. I think everyone's being tribalist. I think identity politics is the problem. That's the thing that people say that are conservative and liberal, progressive. Like, they both say that shit. Bernie says he don't like identity politics as much as Trump don't like identity politics, right? That is whiteness. It's Jon Stewart going on the air and telling us shitting on Biden is as important as shitting on Trump. Because shitting on both of them equally as hard is what matters. Reality of one of them deserving more criticism than the other, that doesn't matter. My job is to find a way to criticize them both 50% of the time, right? That is what I do. And I have to find a way to praise Trump sometimes too, because no one else will be as bold as I am. And that is a very white supremacist mindset. That is whiteness. That is whiteness telling you those are the values.
That individuality.
And what I see is many black and brown people repeat that, where they go, in order to be either in the spaces of whiteness, to be ingratiated to whiteness, to belong, in order to be correct, I need to be above. And so what we say is shit like, I'm not a Democrat, I'm just, and maybe you aren't, maybe that really does apply to you, but I'm gonna tell you straight up, I know I'm a Democrat. Mm-hmm. And the other reason that I say I'm a Democrat, and I say it on this show, and I think it's important, because the party fucking owes me.
Yes, it does.
And the party will and should respect and live up to the values I uphold as well, because I am part of the party. I'm not on the outside trying to influence the party to do some shit and then not voting or telling them I'm gonna. No, I am here to make sure you are accountable. This, like, I get that other people want to be mavericks and it's different depending on where you live and all that type of shit. I'm telling you, in Charlotte, North Carolina, I've never had a moment of flirting with Republicans. I've never even had a point in my life where it would have been strategically advantageous for me to mess around with Republicans and conservatives. They just have not even allowed that in where we live. They haven't allowed that. They haven't given us a day to go, I can see how we need to get in the Republican primary this time. It's very black and white here. So I can only speak for here. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah, we haven't had the luxury of other places. Where
I'm a lifelong Democrat. I will always be voting Democrat unless the parties completely flip the way they did before I was born.
Agreed.
That's the only way I can see myself being like, I guess I'm a Republican, but I cannot, like, they have left me with not much choice. And I don't find that exercising that choice just to prove a point matters. Like when Stephen A. Smith says maybe black people should all vote Republican, for what? So they can take away more of our rights? I don't think so. How about they do something to gain my vote? The way that you demand Democrats gain our vote and earn our vote, why aren't you saying those things to Republicans that they need to earn our vote? I don't understand that logic. So I completely agree with you on this, Karen.
Yeah, and like I said, it's one of those things where, like I said, I might not know everything, but there are some things that are common sense. Like you said, that's one thing about being down the South. We don't have all these luxuries that other parts of the country have. And so I'm not bullshitting with y'all. I'm not playing around with y'all. I don't have time for no, and people can feel how they want to feel about this, but I don't have time for all these parties that ain't going to impact. We are a two-party system in this country. And I'm 40-something years old and my family is older and people been complaining. Well, then y'all need to do something and create this other party. Do the groundwork. If you're not going to do the groundwork, baby, it's left or right, and the other party wants me to stay black and die.
I vote Democrat. That's it. It really that simple to me. You know, everybody trying to do these Jedi mind tricks around it. When you see the people that really, really push how much they aren't committed to either party or either side of anything, I want you to stop and think about it. Why do they say that? It's because they'll be okay. Why can they take a wild swing from extremely, like there was a comedian, I won't say his name just because I don't want to start no shit, but there was a comedian I thought that was so progressive during the Obama years. He was like, I'm not voting Democrat because I'm so progressive. Obama drone strikes, whatever, right? Something. I don't remember what his exact reason. Wall Street, Occupy Wall Street, whatever. It was some reason he was voting. He was not voting. Then here comes Hillary Clinton. He ain't voting again. Hillary Clinton, what about her emails or some shit, or I don't, whatever. He found some reasons. Maybe 94 crime bill. He's a white guy, by the way, but he found a reason. Then here comes Trump. Found a reason not to vote that time, or, you know, not to fuck with Biden or whatever. And now this man is a transphobe, right? An outspoken transphobe, like goes up to the marches transphobe. Family don't talk to him no more transphobe, right? Ooh. Yeah. What a wild swing. But you know what he has in common in every single one of those elections I just mentioned? He gonna be okay.
Right.
He gonna be okay. That's the thing. I'm not.
I am not.
Republicans take over my state, I guarantee you guys I won't be okay. We're fighting tooth and nail. We just got our judge to actually officially be confirmed, because the guy who lost her election was challenging her North Carolina Supreme Court seat, even though he lost, because he was just hoping that enough Republicans in power would be like, you know what, fuck it, steal the election from her. We don't care that she won the election, steal it, take it, because we have the power. That's the fight we fighting down here. It ain't the same as New York and New Jersey and Seattle and wherever the fuck else people are. Now, that being said, it can be the same.
Yes, it can.
Everybody that think they safe, you ain't
not.
safe. You
not.
won election. You won fucking rule. You won law.
You won red person.
Your one criminal case. Your one Republican slush fund attacking your city from being one of these places. You think you're safe.
Yes, you do.
No one's safe if you stop fighting.
Agreed.
The fighting is what makes you safe.
Yes.
And people just don't have to fight in them. All right. We got emails, and then we're going to wrap it up. Called Tomorrow by DJ Jaffa. I love that one. Brian writes in, congratulations on your new car, drive it in good health and safety. Karen mentioned that it has a proximity sensor feature. There are several buttons to get familiar with for a new vehicle, and you're likely to fiddle with them at some point. One of those buttons will turn off the proximity sensor, so if you come to rely on it for parking, you may wind up hitting something if you don't hear the beeping you're expecting. Been there, done that. Best wishes and love all your episodes. I'm beaming with your enjoyment of the Kendrick Lamar concert. Well, Brian, thank you. I don't know what button turns it off. I ain't touching it.
No, don't turn it off. Keep it on.
I need that. I like that.
Me too.
I don't rely on it, but because I haven't had this car long enough, and it's the nicest car I've ever owned. So
ain't that the truth?
And I know for y'all are rich, and it's not y'all's nicest car, but it's nice to me.
It's nice to me.
And I am not trusting the camera and the beeps yet. I'll still be looking in that motherfucker.
Me too. Looking to the left, looking to the right.
Too close to the curb. I'm gonna back it up. I know it says I have room, but I don't feel like I have the room.
Ain't that the truth? Let me do this again.
I'm doing it until I feel like till my feelings become facts.
You don't want me driving it, but like, why you at the back of the parking lot? Because bitch, I don't trust my parking until I get used to it. We gonna have to walk today.
Yeah. Sid writes in, but by no means do you need to read every bullet of feedback. I know the show will be finna be 7 hours. What are we at? Oh, over 2 hours. Okay. You aren't wrong. It is long, but we thought it would be long. Listening to y'all loving Bossy. She's my best friend. No, she's my best friend. Was the cutest, most wholesome black love. I really appreciate hearing two black men go up for any of my sisters like that. And then not be sexual. I don't think I hear that enough. I feel you on that, Sid. But yeah, she is awesome.
She the best.
And look, Mike is the J. Cole of her big three black men friends, podcast friends. So I'm cool with that. As long as I'm the Kendrick, I don't have a problem with them. It's just big me. The way y'all talk about Future is crazy. As someone who started college in 2008, just call us old, why don't you?
Right?
Wow.
2008.
Okay. The Nevadius slander is wild as a musician, not as a person, simply as a musician. Future Hendrix, the nigga that taught us French. He taught y'all French. French Montana didn't do that. It's in his name. Said, let him be the one we call when it's time to be a freak. Got us thinking about putting thumbs in butts and fucking real sisters. Well, that's the thing. You young. I've been on thumbs and butts.
Oh, Lord.
So that's new for you. But like... I mean, come on.
What's wrong with you?
This is old hat for those of us that have been around
for a while.
Digital Underground have been putting thumbs in butts for decades by the time Future showed up. You can't. I get how you would be like, ooh, that's the one. But for me, I'm like, we just on thumbs and butts. We haven't progressed yet. I guess I have to wait for this man to listen to some Akinelli.
Oh no!
March Madness will be the last song play. March Madness will be the last song play as they lower me into the dirt. That nigga reminded us that God ain't never left the trap. The King Low Life. I loved it. I love that you love Future, and that's why I had him as. I think he would be in the big three over J. Cole. That's all I'm saying. But you know what? I feel like that comment is more for Mike, because I don't think anybody else was arguing that Future wasn't big three. I think we were all like, he got more claim to it than J. Cole got, and he was the one acting like, Well, I never. I'm like, I don't even listen to Future like that, and nigga, it's obvious.
Yeah, Future's everywhere.
You know how many Future clones there are? It's crazy when you think about Atlanta rappers, because obviously you got Jeezy, you got T.I., like you got those people, but I would say Future probably spawned the most clones, where it's just niggas that do that like auto-tune mumble rappy type of vibe, you know, the I'm on some pills and some drink type, just want to fuck some bitches. That imprint is heavy in Atlanta. I don't know how you can't give it to him as an influential rapper, but okay. That's gotta be like a quarterly or biannual. There's gotta be a quarterly or biannual rap episode. Y'all would make an incredible rap show. This episode gonna have 1 million comments. Yeah, like I said, I'll be thinking about that. With the I think I have to find a way to do something with music. I don't know how, and I don't want to make it so big that it's involving 1 million people and shit. But I don't know. I'm thinking about it because I do like music and listen to music a lot more than most of the people. And there's so many people that talk about music where I'm like, I could do that. I don't like. And I don't think I'm not super deep. I can't tell you like the instrumentation on each person and like this person was the drummer on that. Like there's people that know that stuff way better than me, but like I could tell you some contemporary shit and be like, yo, have you heard this album yet? That type of thing. So I'll think about it though. Goddamn, that was a perfect segue into Sinners, because that sort of religious experience is so individual, and I think that's what a lot of people don't understand about Beyonce's art is otherworldly. But it doesn't have to be Beyonce for someone to have that experience. I'm just glad that Sinners gave us an example of reference that when the thing that we find most holy is not something that relates to Christianity or like religion, that spirit and spirituality lives anywhere a story can be told. Put that on a t-shirt. Quitting while I'm the fuck ahead, because the dynamic of the four of y'all is very entertaining and we're only like 30 minutes in. I feel the feedback show might be long as fuck Saturday. Nerd off quick question for you and Karen. If an artist or specific piece of art were Infinity Stones, who/what would you collect for your power gauntlet? My example, Beyonce's Renaissance the film, Kendrick's Euphoria, whacked out murals, Man at the Garden, Coogler, whole body of work, Toni Morrison, Beloved, Meg's Coachella set. Oh, like 5 things.
I don't know, 5 things.
You know what? I'm gonna save this for the nerd off. I'm gonna put this as a question for the next nerd off we do. That way it gives Karen some time to think about it. Cause
I don't know, baby.
I just sprung this on her.
Is it music related? I don't know.
No, she was saying it can be anything. Like, what would your things that you like? It could be 5 things. Cowboy Bebop.
So it could be anything. Okay.
He's a DJ, I'm the rapper, or whatever. That type of thing. So I think we have a nerd off coming up this Friday. So give us that'll give us time to think about it, so we can give you a more complete list.
Yes, please.
And tune in this Friday. If you're a premium person, tune in this Friday for our nerd off, and we'll be answering our Infinity Stones of pop culture questions. There you go. John writes in, Sinners, good morning, Rod and Karen. Woo, this a long one, boy.
That has something to say.
That's
gonna be the running joke.
That's the title of the episode. Just go ahead and write it down.
They had something.
Y'all had something to say, because put that on a t-shirt. That is Karen's. That is Karen's shit. Okay, I'm gonna be like,
y'all niggas know y'all be talking.
This is long. They had something to say, didn't they? Good morning, Rod and Karen. Really enjoy Sinners deep dive with Bossy and Mike. I've already seen the movie twice and absolutely loved it. A true masterpiece that has so much interesting stuff to say about America, whiteness, and the black lived experience, cultural appropriation, etc. All done in an incredibly entertaining way. As a musician, I especially love the use of music and the incredible score. Not only were the performed songs fantastic and perfectly integrated to the film, but the score with its lush strings and other orchestral stuff always had the mood just right for the given scene. A couple other things that stood out to me that I love. Coogler's use of the Irish, it would have been really easy and obvious for Coogler at some point to have a character tell the audience that no, the Irish were never slaves in the same way that black people were, with a big old message moment. But I'm glad he took a much more interesting approach. The Irish culture and the music in the film was actually really good, especially the ballad of Will Ye Go Lassie Go, which was beautiful and just dawned on me could have been a literal question to Mary as the lassie, asking if she would come over to whiteness with the vampires. Think about the initial song, Pick Poor Robin Clean. One of the black characters even muttered some sort of appreciation of the performance off camera, though maybe I just imagined it because I saw an interview with Coogler talking about his appreciation for Irish music and how at least his family fucked with it when he was growing up. Did you notice that when Remick and the Vampires performed that song to try to get to the entrance to the juke joint, they used choreographed moves straight out of the Temptations, Four Tops, and other Motown acts, mimicking black moves to try to get in with black people? Brilliant. Makes me wonder if Remick really is a stand-in for Justin Timberlake. By the way, you want to see Jack O'Connell's Remick's range? Check out the incredible Western series Godless, which was filmed out here in Taos, New Mexico. He is so different, we almost didn't even recognize him in this role. You mentioned the way the camera illustrated a love for the South, and there was a little talk about other films that have done that. The first thing that came to mind was our fave, Underground. Like Underground, Sinners used those incredible shots of the endless fields, stunning skies, and always an eye for the beautiful blackness on display from the cast. It also reminded me of Moonlight in that respect. Yeah, those are two good calls. Yeah, both of those. I thought the character Grace was a really great part of the film, especially when Remick and the other vampires were trying to goad her into letting them in. It struck me as a wonderful metaphor for the way whiteness appeals to white adjacent POC and will even threaten them that if they don't join whiteness, their kids and loved ones will pay a serious price. Pretty brilliant and unexpected. Yep, that's a good point. And finally, whether Coogler meant to or not, I appreciate the fact that he got my timeline debating whether the one drop rule is still in effect, whether it's Haley Steinfeld is black, LOL. I do not appreciate this conversation. I do not appreciate the one drop rule being all on my timeline. It was so bad after Sinners. I thought it was still going yesterday, and it turns out I think it's about the Pope. Cause I was like, why are y'all still talking about this one drop shit? Get the fuck off my timeline. The movie is over. Right. Who cares who's passing? And I'm like, oh, it's the Pope? Okay, well, go ahead. I get that's gonna be another week of this bullshit, but yeah. Secret Black Pope is just too good for people. They can't pass that up. We love Steinfeld since her superb Apple TV series Dickinson, in which she absolutely kills it, and I had no idea she had Filipino black heritage. She was even better than I expected as Mary in this film. Bravo, Mr. Coogler. Definitely a top 5 favorite movie for me. Cheers, John. One last thing I'll point out about her and even like Florence Pugh, Marvel is not restricting these actresses and actors from doing other like fun, sexy work
projects.
Like if they won't get their titties out or fuck somebody or do some sexy vampire shit in another film,
it's like you don't have to be asexual.
You can be Hawkeye, and also if they want to go see you like ride Michael B. Jordan on Sinners, they can go see that, and you can still be Hawkeye.
Right.
I'm glad we progressed to that point because I feel like I remember back during the Cosby Show, Denise did that. Why can't I draw that actress's name? Lisa Bonet. Lisa Bonet did a movie where it was like a lot of sexy nakedness, and then like Bill Cosby's like, get the fuck out of the show. Like you can't be out here with the Florence Phil. And I'm like, what? They ain't got nothing to do with each other. Like,
and that's a part of an actor too.
Yeah, so it's good. I didn't even think of that during the recording, or I didn't bring it up because we've been talking. But yeah, it's kind of cool to be able to see like a Marvel actress get out here and do some sexy vampire gory killing shit, and then she'll be Hawkeye next year, and we'll all be like, oh yeah, go get them. So all right. Whew, that's it, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow with my mom for Mother's Day. I believe it'll be 10:30 a.m. If you want to tune in live, feel free to ask my mom questions. If not, we're just going to do a regular episode. So that's it. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody. Have a good